Good morning. It's 5 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and we begin with President Trump's big, beautiful bill vote, which is expected to take place today after a marathon overnight vote-a-rama.
On Capitol Hill overnight, the marathon before the sprint as Republicans push to pass President Trump's signature spending and tax cuts bill.
Make sure people's taxes don't go up tomorrow, the next day, forever.
Senators locked in a vote-a-rama, introducing unlimited amendments before a final vote.
That's NBC's Alice Barr reporting. It's clear that Senators Tom Tillis and Rand Paul will vote against passage of the bill. Republicans can afford to lose only one more vote. A surprise plea agreement in the case of the 4 murdered University of Idaho students. Prosecutors have accepted a plea from Brian Kohberger, who will now avoid the death penalty, but will be sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences with no chance of parole.
In a letter sent to family members of the victims, prosecutors writing, "This resolution is our sincere attempt to seek justice for your family. This agreement ensures that the defendant will be convicted, will spend the rest of his life in prison, and will not be able to put you and other families through the uncertainty of decades of post-conviction appeals."
That's ABC's Lionel Moisey. Now, the families of the 4 murdered students say they were shut out of the process and only learned of the plea deal through a letter. Starting today, anybody caught with impersonating a rideshare or taxi driver in Tennessee will be slapped with a Class B misdemeanor. Here's News 2's Chris Nall.
The issue got statewide attention last year after a man claimed he mistakenly got into a fake taxi and was charged an outrageous fare for a short ride. And it turns out he's not alone.
Had incidents like that back in Canada, and it's hard to tell the difference, so I agree with it and I love the idea.
Now, a Class B misdemeanor carries a sentence of 6 months in jail and a $500 fine. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Wall Street started off the week building on Friday's record close. The Dow was up 275 points at the close of trading. The S&P gained 32 points and the Nasdaq rose 96. Markets getting a boost after Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney announced Canada has resumed trade talks with the U.S. President Trump suspended talks on Friday over a planned Canadian tax on technology companies in the U.S. that would have gone into effect Monday. Canada has rescinded that digital tax. The Intercontinental Exchange's U.S. dollar index is down more than 10.5% for the first half of this year. The dollar feeling impacts of President Trump's trade war, but a weakened dollar can help companies that export goods by making their prices more competitive in overseas markets. American Airlines says this July 4th season will be its largest ever, with almost 7.6 million customers flying on the airline between June 27th and July 7th. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
We've got slight losses in the pre-market trading this morning. Dow futures are down 50, NASDAQ futures minus 77, S&P futures down 16. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Well, they're doing some paving in the overnight hours here on 65 northbound. It's right at Trinity Lane that the left lane is blocked off. And this is in Talbot's Corner. We're learning, too, that they're wrapping that work up, so it should be gone soon, right there at exit 87. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Hope you're doing well. Joan,
Yes.
did you have in your newscast the budding fight that is going on right now between Elon and Trump? It looks like it's going to be Elon v. Trump, take two.
Yeah, I don't get it. No, I didn't have it in the news. I figured that's something that you would want to kind of deal with, which you can do better as a talk show host. Are you scratching your head over this too? Like, what happened?
Well, you know what's been going on, right? So Elon has been spouting off. Now, I'm going to say this very respectfully of everyone, but Elon has been spouting off again about the big, beautiful bill. He doesn't like it. Everybody knows that Elon doesn't like it. So Elon has been saying that, he wants to start, and he says that he will start a new political party, the America Party. It's the same stuff that he's been saying all this time.
Yeah.
But he has now said, you know what? If this passes, I will immediately start another party called the America Party. Who's with me, basically, is what he's saying. And so I was musing, all right, so let's think if, who's the biggest malcontents here with the big, beautiful bill? Rand Paul, right? A lot of people love Rand Paul. So I was thinking, all right, so if Elon Musk decided to start a new political party, he's got the money to do it. He's got the following to do it.
He'll have Thomas Massey, too.
Thomas Massey and Rand Paul,
Yep.
and probably some others as well. And so I think Donald Trump understands that is a reasonable threat. Now, I don't believe, just so y'all know, I don't believe that Elon and Thomas Massey and Rand Paul could beat a J.D. Vance or a Marco Rubio. I don't believe that they could. But they could split apart the conservative vote, and that would be good for the Democrats.
Yep,
right?
Absolutely. That's the danger.
That is absolutely the danger. So Trump is now doing what, Trump does, and he starts going after Elon on True Social because, again, Elon is talking about starting another thing. Because, what happens is if ultimately the Democrats come in 2028, if they win in 2028, you know what happens? It's like a lot of Donald Trump's legacy will be gone. Just like the bottom line with Joe Biden and his legislative legacy, there's nothing good. But anything good that he thought he might have done, Donald Trump just came in and steamrolled right over it. And so Trump doesn't want his legacy to end at the end of his second term. If J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio get in, then his legacy will not only be intact, but it'll be strengthened because everything that he puts forward, I'm assuming, would continue on. Sometimes if you have, a piece of legislation, maybe a spending bill, and you put it in place, well, that's great, but sometimes it takes a while for that cake to bake. You know what I'm saying? And so if a Democrat comes in and, Lord help us, you've got a Democrat-run Congress as well, they can kill your bill before it's baked, before it's all ready to, before everything is played out. And so if that happens, then that does mess with your legacy as a president. So, I totally get why Donald Trump is now going after Elon Musk. And it's a familiar thing. This was right before midnight. Donald Trump posting this. Elon Musk knew long before he so strongly endorsed me for president that I was strongly against the EV mandate. It is ridiculous and was always a major part of my campaign. Electric cars are fine, but not everybody should be forced to own one. President Trump saying Elon may get more subsidy than any human being in history by far. And without subsidies, Trump says, without subsidies, Elon would probably have to close up shop and head back home to South Africa. No more rocket launches, no more satellites or electric car production, and our country would save a fortune. Perhaps we should have Doge take a good, hard look at this. Big money to be saved. He is threatening, Donald Trump is threatening Elon Musk with Doge. Now, for the record, and I told you about this before, folks, Elon Musk doesn't want the subsidies. Elon Musk has said over and over again, I don't need the subsidies. The Teslas, they stand on their own. So I mean, Donald Trump has done this before because I guess the EV mandate in the big, beautiful bill, Joan, is the EV mandate killed in the big, beautiful bill?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So are you guessing or is it true?
Oh, I'm guessing.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I could have guessed, Joan,
Yeah,
but
sorry.
as the one, the clearly the smartest of the two of us, I thought you would know.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
You're kidding about me being smarter than you?
Actually, no, I'm not kidding about that. Not at all. Anyway, so I think Trump, I think he recognizes that Elon Musk could cause some problems for not only him, but also for the Republican Party. You extend that out to Donald Trump's legacy and his legislative victories and how, you know what?
Is it too late for him to fold Elon back in?
Probably.
Yeah.
And Elon is a man of, well, I say this, I don't really know, but I believe that Elon Musk is a man of principle. So if that thing passes, my worry would be that Elon starts, cozying up to the Democrats. That would be a worry that I would have too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Super text line is open, by the way, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Joan, I don't know if you listened on the way in when I was hosting Red Eye Radio, but
I listened deeply and intently when you're talking.
do you know why that is? Because you're smart. We've already covered that, haven't we?
Yeah.
So I heard that. So a really interesting poll, though, and I'm going to get into that coming up after the traffic. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Well, it looks like they have wrapped up, or they're starting to wrap up, that paving work on 65 northbound near Trinity Lane this morning. Still really slow as you go by that spot, though. And no delays so far to speak of on 24 heading in. 40 is looking pretty good so far as well. This is one of those weeks where we're going to have light volume on the roadways because of the holiday. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. As far as the weather for today, high of 88, possible thunderstorms as well. Is that what you have, Joan? High of 88, possible T-storms?
Yes, that's exactly what I have.
So listen to this. I thought this was interesting. We did talk about this on the overnight. Gallup did a poll, and they asked people way back in 2001. Now, I don't know if this was before or after 9/11, but they asked Democrats and Republicans, are you proud to be an American? 87% of Democrats back in 2001 said, absolutely, we are proud to be American. 87% of Democrats in 2001. Joan, can you guess what that number is today in 2025?
I would be cheating because I heard the story.
36%,
Which
friends.
is so sad.
It is sad. They went down 51 percentage points. What is wrong with these Democrats? And I would love to know what exactly specifically is it that has made you not proud to be an American? What is it? Is it because America nominated and elected Donald Trump? Is that what it is? Republicans, by the way, I'm proud to say that Republicans stood firm. In 2001, 90% of Republicans said that they were either very or extremely proud to be an American. Do you know what that number was in 2025? 92%. So Trump added a couple of percentage points. And I think part of the reason why is because we do have a president. You know what? I'll say this. Barack Obama. Remember Barack Obama's apology tour?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Do you remember Joe Biden and his? I don't know did he go on an apology tour like Obama did, or did he just, he never knew where he was, so I don't really know.
Just hiding in the basement.
Yeah. But so the Democrats, the question would be, why are you not as proud to be an American today as you were back in 2001? I would ask the hate listeners, because I know that we got them. So, hate listeners, in other words, if you are a Democrat, are you proud to be an American? And by the way, if you are not as proud as you were back in 2001, I want to know why. Like, that's the thing that I was trying to figure out, even on Red Eye Radio. I was trying to ask folks, if you fall into that category, if you fall into the category of you're not as proud as you once were about being an American, why? Why is that? And I didn't really get any takers on the overnight show. And I thought I'd get at least one hate listener, but I didn't. I mean, one guy said, well, America starts a lot of wars. You know what? America ends a lot of wars too. I'd say that. So I don't know, but I can only speak for myself when I say that I am, at 2001, that's so long ago, I don't know how patriotic I was back then, but I can tell you why I am so extremely proud to be an American today. The reason I'm so proud to be an American today is because, well, I can't get away from that damn song. I'm just kidding. Did you get the joke, Joe?
Yeah, now everybody's going to be playing that song in their heads,
Proud
even
to
though
be
they
an
didn't hear it.
American. You know what? I love the song. I love the song the first 3,000 times that I heard it. Anyway, so no, in reality, the reason why I think that I am more patriotic and why I believe that Republicans have maintained their patriotism is because America actually does a lot of good. And we do have a president. We had Donald Trump in the first term. He was proud of America. He was always standing up for America. And now here in his second term, he is even more passionate about protecting America. And so I think that's why, and let's just be honest, it's kind of built into the fabric of being a conservative, being proud to be an American, right? And being proud to, be part of, the greatest country on earth. For the Democrats, that is some sort of a bad thing, where if you believe that America is the greatest country on earth, well, then you're, I don't know, what do you call it when you're proud of your country?
Patriotic?
The Democrats, what is the word? Where the Democrats have like a nasty word for it. If you are proud of your country, is it jingoism? Is that the right word? I don't know if that's the right word. There is a word that the Democrats will use. I'm not on the super text line. Maybe somebody can.
Yeah, jingoism is excessive, often aggressive nationalism, especially in foreign policy.
All right, whatever. Anyway, but the Democrats don't think it's a positive thing to be proud of your country. So that is part of it. But bottom line is, if there are any, and I'll get my super text line up here in a second. But Joan, do you see any hate listeners out there, and are they chiming in as to why they might not be as patriotic as they once were?
I am not.
You're not?
Logged into the text.
You know what, super texters, we're not ignoring you.
Yeah, I'm doing so now.
We're not ignoring you. KGB, what are you doing? You on the super text line?
I'm signing in as well.
Wow, man, all of us just not with it this morning. Well, that's all right. I would be willing to bet that somebody though has an answer for us, and we'll talk about that coming up. It is 5:21 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. KGB, what is our poll question for the day?
Yes, I got you. Would you support a political party led by Elon Musk? Yes or no? And right now, 78% say no.
That was the overriding thought when we did it on Red Eye. The overriding thought from the people that I spoke to, and they sent in Facebook notes and stuff. Most people said, like Elon, he's a good guy, love what he did for America, but no, we're going to stick with what we know. And I think that is really, really smart. It is 5:21 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan Jones has the news at 5:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, Dan, on Super Talk 99.7. What is the latest on the Senate's marathon overnight session? We'll bring you the latest. Also, we'll tell you which Hollywood actor is cheering for Iran to get a nuclear weapon.
Oh, my God.
Those stories and more.
You're going to make my head explode
I know.
already.
Get your duct tape and wrap it around your head early.
I could not believe that story. I cannot wait till you do that story.
Yeah, it's coming up here at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.527, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so one person, Joan, played along a little bit here when I was asking, okay, so are you less patriotic now than you were, way back in 2001? 7422 says this, and he played along. He says, I am not as proud to be an American because same-sex marriage was set into law. I'm too conservative to be a Republican, and I'm not a hate listener. Thank you. He also says, and I don't like Lee Greenwood because he canceled his appearance at the NRA convention after the Texas school shooting. I'd forgotten about that.
Oh, I forgot about that too.
I do find it interesting, though, the amount of people that are saying, no, I'm just as patriotic as I ever was, back in 2001. I think we were all patriotic in 2001. I don't know, again, not to belabor the point, but I don't know if that poll was taken before or after 9/11. 2112 says, I'm a proud Christian nationalist. Reasons not to be proud: crippling debt, ending wars, democratic socialists allowed to take over the world, and USAID. So I think there are legitimate reasons not to be proud of America because of some of the things that are happening in these Democrat-run cities. But you can sort of, it's like your kids. Your kid's doing something stupid and you get irritated and frustrated with them, but you still love them. I think it's the same thing with America. The problem is, with America, we do some of these things, and I don't know if we'll ever be able to recover, like, for example, the wide open border or the crippling debt. By the way, I got to see if I can find this. It was so funny. Hold on. Okay. I'm not going to say who it is. But you know what I love about the super text line, Joan? Is that when somebody accidentally sends us a text and they meant it for somebody else. So this one guy, don't say who it is because I don't want to get him in trouble. This one guy sends us a text message. He says, hey, I'm checking out. Was wondering if you could do without me for the next couple of days. There's a chick in Georgia aching to see me. I'm happy to work the weekend. I figured it'd be cheaper to go before the holiday.
Oh, my gosh.
Does your chick in Georgia know that you're a cheapskate?
Wow.
Anyway, so I sent him back a note and I said, lucky you, man. Lucky you. I've got a chick in Mount Juliet that is aching to see me take a long vacation by myself. Anyway, it is at 5:29, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 5:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. President Trump took to social media overnight to warn that if his big, beautiful bill doesn't pass Congress, Americans will be hit with a 68% tax increase. Fox News' Chad Pergram on where this measure stands as the Senate remained in session overnight.
Now, the key amendment here might be from Rick Scott, Republican of Florida. That's on the percentage of Medicaid costs for states. And if that's adopted, then that could be a win for conservatives. They've already rejected 2 amendments to remove illegal immigrants from Medicaid. And also, a deal was in the works on limiting the 10-year moratorium for AI regulations for state and local governments. And that's been blown up, and that could be a problem.
Yeah, and right now, Senator Ted Cruz is speaking before the Senate as these amendments continue to fly and be voted on all through the night. Now, among the provisions that the Republicans are in favor of, a $350 billion infusion for border and national security, including for deportations, some rules that make signing up for Medicaid and food stamps more rigorous, also one that ends some green energy tax credits. Now, we'll stay on top of this and keep watching what's happening there in the Senate today. Here in Nashville, a 3-year-old child is clinging to life today after getting hold of a gun inside the family's home in the Nations and getting shot in the head. Channel 4's Alexandria Adams.
The child's mother saying that she was asleep after getting home from work and heard a loud bang, and that's what woke her up. Metro Police telling us the child had surgery, but they are not sure if the boy will survive.
Now, Metro Nashville Police said that the Youth Services Division is reviewing the case. They'll determine if any charges are filed here. Also, actor John Cusack with a hot take on the U.S. bombing of Iran's nuclear program. In a post on X, he said Iran should get a nuclear weapon to deter U.S. and Israel from bombing every country in the Middle East. He's also recently posted his support for socialist candidate Zorhan Mandami winning the New York City mayoral Democrat primary.
So I'd like to then let John Cusack know that if he wants to embrace socialism, first thing he's got to do is give me some money.
That's right. In fact, he needs to give all of us some of his money.
Right. I mean, that's what socialism is.
Right, because he didn't earn that on his own.
Has he ever been on drugs?
I think it's pretty clear that he's totally on burnout. I mean, his brain is fried.
Burnout Cusack.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Okay.
And by the way, it's not shocking what John Cusack said.
No, he's kind of been going down that road for a while, but he's really out there now.
Yep. You know, he can go to Venezuela.
He could.
He can go on to Venezuela, man. Just get.
That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Well, looking at the cameras this morning, looks like things are running pretty smoothly as you're making your way in. Just a minor delay this morning on 65 southbound side near the Goodlettsville area. Nothing to speak of, though, on 40. Everything looks great on 24 so far heading in. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
537, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. So today's a big day, Joan.
Yes, it is.
And not for the reason you think. Do you know what today is in America? Do you know what today is?
The 1st of July.
Nope.
End of Pride Month.
He's not wrong.
I thought that's where you were going.
No.
He's not wrong.
No. Today is
Let's kick it.
Alligator Alcatraz Day.
Yes.
If you go to my X feed, I'm sure you've seen this, Joan. All of the alligators head
too
bobbing
funny.
up and down with the with the ice hats on. It is so epically funny. So it is a big day today because Donald Trump is headed to Florida. And this was Caroline Leavitt yesterday talking about this.
President Trump will travel to the great state of Florida to attend the opening of a new illegal alien detention center located at Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport.
All right, so it is, Alligator Alcatraz Day. He's going to go to this massive migrant detention center right there in the Florida Everglades, surrounded by alligators, massive python snakes, and all kinds of dangerous animals and reptiles. Have you ever been to the Florida Everglades, Joan?
I have, actually. Well, not to, let's see, have I been to the Everglades?
It's kind of swampy.
Yeah, it's very swampy, and it has sawgrass.
Yeah.
So it's blady grass.
Right.
It's horrible. And it's just, it's alligators everywhere.
Yeah. You ever see pythons?
I haven't seen a python, no.
All right.
I mean, except in the zoo.
Well, President Trump, he's going, and he's going to be there today. I'm looking forward to seeing the president's speech on that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's only one road leading in, and the only way out is a one-way flight. It is isolated and surrounded by dangerous wildlife and unforgiving terrain. The facility will have up to 5,000 beds to house, process, and deport criminal illegal aliens. This is an efficient and low-cost way to help carry out the largest mass deportation campaign in American history.
Now, can I tell you, though, this place doesn't sound so bad. Like, if I'm an illegal alien and I've lived in, Guatemala.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Guatemala. All right.
I gotcha.
Good. They've got air conditioning. They've got food. They've got water. And these are going to be new facilities. So what exactly is the problem? They'll be able to meet with their legal representatives and all of that processing that the Democrats are so worried about. Eventually, these people will be deported. They'll maybe jailed if they go and they have their hearings and then their trials and all that stuff. And maybe, just maybe, they'll be found innocent. But whatever.
And if they try to escape, they'll get a leg taken off by an alligator.
And then they're not going to be able to run.
Right. I mean, I'm all for it.
Listen, I'd be okay with just an ankle. You don't have to lose the entire leg.
Yeah, somebody else said they have mosquitoes as big as dragonflies.
Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah.
So Democrats, they're not happy with this.
I need somebody to tell me that I'd not just walk upstairs and see a clip on the news talking about Alligator Alcatraz, a prison camp that they're building in the Everglades in Florida to throw immigrants into. Truly, what the is happening when they're in the middle of construction of a prison camp in the Everglades to throw immigrants into, which by the looks of it, of what I saw on the screen, looked just like several rows of cargo shipping containers. They're building a ton of shipping containers that they're going to throw human beings into because they're immigrants.
You know what's so funny?
She skips the word illegal somehow.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
She does.
Yeah. Funny.
And it's almost like she's like frothing at the mouth. And by the way, I grokked it. They're not using shipping containers for these people.
I know.
But I just want people to know that I actually have no problem with shipping containers. I once said that what we need to do is take some of these, because, America has like thousands of these shipping containers, right? You put them on, they're like train shipping containers.
Right.
You can make those into apartments. People have done this in every big city across America.
Oh, it's very fashionable right now.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
So why don't we take all these and put homeless people in them?
Oh, Yeah.
or migrants or illegal aliens. That's what we ought to do. But this woman, she gets so, and if you listen to this next soundbite, she's like slowly building to an explosion.
If that wasn't already horrifying enough to throw human beings into containers, Florida had to Florida and be like, you know what, I'll do you one better. Not only are we going to make this disgusting prison camp, but we're going to put it right in the Everglades next to all the gators and joyfully refer to it as Alligator Alcatraz. No, absolutely not. Just make it stop. Make it stop!
Has anybody checked on her?
Make it stop!
No, but maybe they should. Do you know, I wonder, when I hear that, I honestly wonder, is she for real? Or is she just trying to get followers and likes and all that?
Make it stop!
I mean, I don't know. It sounds silly to me that she is getting so passionate about something that most people, you know, relatively speaking, just passionate about. I mean, I'm passionate about it, but most people are like, well, yeah, they're getting rid of illegal aliens. What's the problem? But of course, but this wackadoo.
Make it stop!
It's all performative, like everything
Do you think
they
that's
do.
performative?
Absolutely.
Hey, by the way, Joan.
Yeah.
When is your birthday?
It was last week.
Was it really?
Yeah.
And I missed it. I didn't know it was your birthday.
I know.
KGB, did you know it was just, hey, Joan, for the record, my birthday is easy to remember.
I know.
December 26th.
I know. We all know, Dan.
And listen, gift cards are fine. Venmo is always appreciated.
Oh my gosh. Do you know my birthday was 2 weeks ago?
We did. We actually said happy birthday to you.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Because he was in Las Vegas for his birthday.
I was, well, when your guys' show's on, I was dead asleep.
Your guys's?
Your guys.
Let's work on your grammar.
That was such a California thing to say.
Can we be honest? Even when you're here, KGB, you're asleep.
Make it stop!
And then he starts saying that. By the way, so I've decided then what I'm going to get you for Christmas, Joan.
Okay.
I'm going to get you Alligator Alcatraz T-shirt.
I love it.
They
I
have
want
them.
that.
If you go to
already?
Yeah, if you go to my X feed, the Florida GOP now has Alcatraz Island T-shirts and hats.
I love it.
I do too. If only to drive
Make it stop!
people like that crazy. All right, so it is also a big day today because all the new laws come into effect. They start today. So,
sorry, I'm looking. I found a plethora of these shirts already on like Amazon. The Alcatraz alligator ones.
Yeah,
they're good.
Are they? Describe a couple.
One has like what looks like some sort of resort in Florida that just says Alcatraz National. Like it calls it a national park already.
Okay,
so that's pretty good.
Do you know what I like? I like the ones where they're memes, Joan, where the alligator is wearing a prison guard uniform, and he's got, like the gang member with, the shaved head and the teardrop tattoo and all that. Ooh. And he's got a baton. And it's AI, and it looks real.
Someone made a picture of us, like, usually there's like presidential seal or like some seals for like cities and stuff. Mm-hmm. One made one for Alligator Alcatraz, which is an alligator and a lock, like one of those heavy duty locks. And it just says like established 2025 on it and stuff. It's so
okay.
These are good.
All right. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll order mine. And
yeah, these are going for like honestly like $15 for these shirts. I mean, I would buy one of these.
It's not bad as long as you get them while they're still fashionable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah. You gotta.
Yeah. Like sometimes by the time you get it, it's already over. Joan, today is the day when all of the new laws come into effect. So you want to talk about the biggest couple? Now, just so we're clear, I don't know what they are.
Okay.
So
most of these, restricting cell phone use in schools.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! You know what the kids are saying about that?
Make it stop!
Yes,
that's what the kids are saying.
Oh God, is that today's overused clip of the day?
I think so. Absolutely.
I've been looking forward to this since midnight. All right, what else?
So a
So
lot of the
kids
school
can't
districts.
use the cell phone in school?
School districts can make rules now that
Got it.
ban cell phone use. So a lot of them have Clarksville, Metro, Nashville, Williamson County, and Putnam County, just to name a few. This is also the day that the Education Freedom Act becomes for real, even though they've already signed up a bajillion kids.
Right.
The ban on Glock switches, that goes into effect today.
Okay.
Ensures harsh penalties for anyone caught with a handgun displaying the device. Penalties increased to a felony if a person abuses a child between the ages of 9 and 17. Imagine that was not a felony before.
What?
Yeah,
Are you kidding me? That was not a felony before?
it was not. It was not. It's been upgraded.
In 2025, that's been upgraded.
Yes.
Well done, state legislature.
I know, right?
It's almost like, did you know that this was? So if it's not a felony, is it misdemeanor? Like, is there something
Yes, I
in
think so.
between a felony and a misdemeanor?
So anyone under the age of 9, yes, it was a felony. Now the 9 to 17-year-olds are covered by a felony.
All right.
Yeah. There's an interesting one, and I have a story about this. Human smuggling and harboring, it criminalizes the harboring of undocumented immigrants. So that's going to be really tough for a lot of places. And I think about places like Nashville Rescue Mission, which has already said that it harbors illegal immigrants.
They do.
And
Yeah,
so
they
what
said that.
happens with places like that? I realize that it's from their heart that they're doing this because they're taking care of humans.
Yep.
But it's not allowed.
It's not political for them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they
Exactly.
see a human being. You use the proper term. They see a human being. They don't see a
Correct.
person
Yep.
who's illegal or legal, whatever. So I don't know. That's an interesting point.
So on my way to work this morning,
Yeah.
I passed 2 vans. No, remember the van that Kilmar Abrego Garcia was in? And it had all the seats. You know, what did they have? 9 people
Oh, yeah.
in the van with him
Yep.
when he was caught.
Yep.
I passed 2 vans this morning, white vans carrying just as many people. They were in line with each other. One of them, they were in the left lane. The first one got into the right lane as I wanted to pass, and the second one got into the right lane, very respective. But beat up old white vans packed with people inside of them.
Seriously.
Yeah, it looked to me, and that was on 24 westbound early this morning. So they're doing it like in the overnight hours.
Was it in Antioch?
No, it was actually down by me. So,
Okay.
Probably, between Manchester and Murfreesboro is where I
Okay.
saw it. So they were heading up toward Nashville. And they're doing it in the early morning hours when nobody would see them. So who knows what it really is, but it looked to me like they were smuggling humans.
Joan, I think we know what we need to do.
Oh, boy.
We got to find Ice Baby.
Should I call ICE and tell them what I saw?
You should. I think that'd be fun. Do you have Ice's phone number?
They're right here in Nashville.
Then call them. Yeah, I think that'd be funny. Just make sure that, you give them your name and not mine. I'm just kidding.
Hi, I'm Joan Jones. I work on the Dan Manda Show.
Somebody sent me a text yesterday, and I don't know if it's true. It can't be. There's no way. Somebody said that George Clooney had been arrested because they had found a bunch of illegal aliens working on his house.
No.
I don't think that's true because I have not seen that anywhere. But, that would be so funny. Wouldn't that be funny?
It would be hysterical.
Do you know what somebody ought to do? Somebody ought to figure out where John Cusack lives and then just like have a bunch of illegal aliens like run onto his property and then have, ICE show up. And then it could be, busted for harboring illegal aliens. Then John Cusack could maybe be deported himself to wherever it is he thinks is better than America.
I don't see anything about that. I see stories about the color of his hair for his last show, which is just a ridiculous story.
The color of George Clooney's hair?
Yeah, he had to dye his hair really dark or something.
Oh, whatever. Hard-hitting journalism.
Yes, clearly.
Hard-hitting journalism. All
So
right,
no,
very
that
good.
okay. Do you want to know more of the laws?
A couple more, sure.
There's the immigration enforcement law provides incentives for promoting enforcement of federal immigration and criminal penalties and removal of officials who adopt sanctuary policies. I think that's an important one.
Yeah.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
There's limits on the number of points assessed to a person's driver's license to 4 for the offenses of operating a vehicle with a canceled or suspended or revoked license.
Unless you're
an illegal alien,
unless you're
then you
an
get away
illegal
with it.
alien that can't speak English, then you're fine.
Exactly. There's also the dismantling DEI departments. No state department, agency, or any other unit of state government will be allowed to promote or require diversity, equity, or inclusion policies or programs in Tennessee.
Do you know what sucks about that, though? I think Nashville can still do it.
Why? Are they
Because
not part of
that's a city.
Tennessee?
That's a city. No, that's a city.
No state government department, agency, or any other
You have
unit
state
of state
departments,
government.
and then you have city departments, right?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if that's true, but there was a thing that was going on in Nashville, and I checked it out, and they said, yeah, the city of Nashville can do what they want.
And they probably will. They probably do.
Of course they will.
On steroids.
Mm-hmm.
Last one.
Yes.
The Success Sequence Act, which I just love this, but I want to know how it's implemented. This is that bill that aims to teach a success sequence to students so they finish high school, go get a job, or move to higher education, then get married, then have children.
I love that.
Yes, love that too. But how do you implement that?
You just have a talk. Do you know what I think you ought to do when, like, you want to talk about that? So real quick, I think part of what you do, if you want to tell, like, particularly young men that you need to do this in a particular order, you need to tell, like, a teenage boy, like, 15, 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
Here's how much you will be paying in child support if you knock somebody up.
I like that. Okay.
Because I think just the sheer practicality of, holy crap, I'm going to be paying how much? And because it's a sizable amount. And it'll, I don't know if it'll.
The unfortunate part of it is that this replaces teaching your children in a family setting how to be a family, how to do life.
You know, the story about the child support, instead of scaring the pants off of you, it'll scare the pants back on you. Thank you.
Well done, Dan. I like that one.
You like that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Very good, because I think a lot of the people are like,
make it stop!
I think that's what they're saying. All right, for the love of God. Go, Joan. What's coming up?
Well, we're watching what's happening on the floor of the Senate right now. And yes, they're still voting on some amendments, and we are going to keep watching it for you. We'll have that and also the charges against that guy that threw the Molotov cocktails in Boulder, Colorado. They're being upgraded to murder now. We'll tell you what's going on with that. That's coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:59, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. All right, got a lot going on this morning. The big, beautiful bill and the Rama continues in the Senate. I guess, have they been going on all night, Joan? Have they been doing this all night?
It's been since, 9:30 yesterday morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have that going on. We'll continue that coverage for you as well. The debate continues. Big, beautiful bill. Also, have you heard what CNN did yesterday promoting a certain app that will set up our law enforcement into some very dangerous situations? We'll talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is Nashville's Morning News on WTN.
Good morning now, 6 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It's cloudy right now and 76 degrees. We have a slight chance of thunderstorms today and a high of 88 degrees. More with Stefano right after the news. The Senate is still at it in the middle of that so-called vote-a-rama that started about 9:30 yesterday morning. Right now, senators are voting on an amendment that was proposed by Virginia Senator Mark Warner. Now, most of these amendments have failed. Here's ABC's Ali Pekoran.
They're trying to figure out how to corral the conference into passing this legislation. It does not seem at the present moment that Majority Leader John Thune has locked the votes down to get this thing passed. If you look at the Senate floor, he's huddled up in deep conversation with some of these holdout senators. Mainly, we've been seeing a lot of attention poured into Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski.
And we're going to keep an eye on the voting as this continues this morning. President Trump takes a trip to Alligator Alcatraz today, the detention center being built on the site of an old airport in Florida's Everglades, where a detention center is being built for deportees.
It's a massive runway, and there's not a lot of buildings out there, but there's a lot of concrete, and so these guys set up this whole thing within a matter of days.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis there. The center will also be able to hold around 5,000 people. Charges against Mohammed Solomon have been upgraded to murder now after one of the victims that he hit with a flaming Molotov cocktail has now died. That Egyptian national is already facing state and federal hate crime charges for the attack on Israel supporters in Boulder, Colorado. It is an 82-year-old woman who died from her injuries yesterday, and she's one of 15 people injured in that attack. Okay, listeners, time to check your baloney. There's a company in New Jersey that has recalled thousands of pounds of their products after a USDA inspection found that the packaging was mislabeled. The company is Geyser's European-style Provisions, and the products include turkey bologna, Russian brand bologna, and chicken bologna, among others. It was sold nationwide. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
From ABC News, Wall Street now. The Bulls ran the show to start the week, pushing up the NASDAQ and S&P by 0.5% Monday and landing each index at a record high. The Dow Jones did not set a new record, but did gain 275 points to close above 44,000 for the first time since February. Goldman Sachs now predicts 3 interest rate cuts later this year, each 0.25%. The brokerage points to weakness in the labor market and what it calls the muted effects of President Trump's tariffs. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Right now we've got Dow futures minus 56, NASDAQ futures falling 62. The S&P futures are down 14. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got an accident on westbound 24 right now past the Almaville Road exit. That's number 70, and it's causing some delays on the roads this morning. Otherwise, it really looks good this morning heading in on 40. 65 just starts to slow down around that merge with 24. Otherwise, looking good. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Joan, I don't know if you had this in your news, but J.D. Vance has now arrived.
Yes, so I'm seeing.
So that means that either one of two things is happening. They're not confident that they're going to get all the votes necessary to do this cleanly. If they lose three, if the Republicans lose three senators, then they need J.D. Vance there to break the tie. Or J.D. Vance is there to be the negotiator, you know, the guy that's going to come in and, you know, try to play the good cop as opposed to Donald Trump getting on the phone with somebody and just reaming them a new one to get them to, you know, sign on to this bill, which I don't think is going to work. J.D. Vance is there to try to maybe talk some people into supporting the bill that perhaps are being a little slow to accept, you know, the greatness of, you know, the big, beautiful bill.
Okay, so I have a little bit on this. We know that we lost Tom Tillis.
Yep.
We know that we have lost Rand Paul.
Yes.
So now it's the two agitators, the two Republican agitators, and that's Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, have both also.
We're in big trouble.
We're in big trouble. So
we've lost four. If we lose four, then it's going down.
Right. So what's happening is Susan Collins has proposed an amendment that failed that said she wanted the nation's most wealthy people to have a tax rate higher than it currently is to pay for everything in the bill. And they said no. And Lisa Murkowski wanted a carve out so that Medicaid in her state would not be like illegals would still be able to have anybody. There would be no cuts, no work requirement, nothing, just for her state.
And she's a Republican.
And she's a Republican.
Oh.
So
well, she's really not.
Right. Right. And the parliamentarian said no dice. So, you know, it's those two that have long been the thorn on our sides.
Yep.
The spur under the saddle that are holding things up. So now J.D. Vance is coming in with maybe he'll strong arm them. Maybe he'll do something, say something, provide something that would make them get on board.
Okay, so I think the only one, because I don't think Lisa Murkowski or Susan Collins, I don't think they're going to help. I sure as heck don't think Tom Tillis is going to help.
Do you think Rand Paul?
Rand Paul. I think it'll be Rand Paul. Do you have an opinion? Who do you think will be the? Because I think it's got to pass. So if one of them's going to give in, I think it's going to be Rand Paul.
Yeah, I think Tom Tillis has taken that step that, you know, he said, look, I'm willing to step back and not, you know, I'm willing to spend more time with my family than be in the Senate.
Yeah.
So, you know, once you've taken that step and gone that far, well, you're not going to turn back.
Right. And I don't think, you know, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, I mean, we all know how bullheaded women can be. So I don't think they're going to change their minds.
Hang on, mister.
I'm kidding. I do believe that it'll be Rand Paul because I do believe that he is the most reasonable.
Okay.
And by the way, for you folks that are, you know, we knew Mandis was in favor of the bill. No, I believe that it is a good bill. I'm going to have to believe when Donald Trump and, you know, Bill Hagerty and people that I trust are going to say that there will be growth based on the tax cuts, I'm going to believe them. I am worried about the debt. I am. But I also know that there are a lot of good things in this bill for the American people.
And President Trump's tariffs, which are streaming in, they're not. There's no consideration for the money that's being brought into the Treasury from the tariffs.
Yes, that is number one. That is a great point. And, you know, I spoke to Senator Haggerty the other day, and he was talking about, I played the soundbite a couple of different times the next day, where he says, you know, the CBO, when they come with these, the analysis that it's going to add whatever it is to the national debt, well, they don't take into account the full picture. They don't take into account the money that will actually be made with lower taxes, because when you lower the taxes, then people are getting more of their money back, and that means they're spending more. When you're giving businesses tax breaks, that means that they can do more investing in, you know, research and development, and they can hire people. So there's a lot of things in here that will spur economic growth. So am I still concerned? Absolutely, I'm concerned. But here's the thing, is that I believe that the American people deserve to continue to be able to have those tax breaks. That's number one. And number two, I think that the Democrats, I think they are absolutely insane for voting against the American people having not only a tax break, but a bigger tax break at that. So I thought it was interesting, as all of this is going down yesterday, need some audio. Mark Wayne Mullen, he is, of course, a Republican senator, and he was on Fox News talking about how he's been very frustrated with what he calls a dog and pony show.
Bill, we're going through this vote of Rama. We'll probably finish up late tonight. I would say just because the dog and pony show, the Democrats want to show that they're fighting, which is just like a spoiled child. So they're probably going to go through the primetime shows. Sometimes after the primetime shows go off the air, they'll probably quit their fight around 11 o'clock Eastern time or so.
Well, he was off the mark on that one, because it is still going this morning. But when he said that this is a dog and pony show, Joan, have you heard some of these people on some of these Democrats on social media, where they are they're talking straight into the camera. They're speaking very seriously.
Oh, gosh.
And
more performative stuff.
Performative stuff, like Chuck Schumer.
Democrats are kicking off vote of Rama, and we're going to make the Republicans vote on amendment after amendment after amendment that shows just who they are. Taking people's health care away so people might die, taking food out of the mouths of hungry children, all to help their billionaire buddies. They're going to walk on a lot of hot coals all day.
Now, first of all, I think it's silly for him to say that Republicans are taking food out of the mouths of children, when in reality, in this bill, they want to increase the child tax credit, and they want to have those $1,000 Trump accounts for newborn kids. So the reality and the facts are completely opposite of what Chuck Schumer's narrative is right here. Then we've got crying Alex Padilla.
This bill is fundamentally about one thing and one thing only: cutting taxes for the wealthiest Americans.
So, I mean, that's just simply not true. You know what I feel like sometimes? I feel like, we were talking yesterday about Amy Coney Barrett and about how she was incredibly dismissive about the Ketanji Brown Jackson and her legal opinions. Remember that whole thing where there is a big battle on the Supreme Court, where it seems like all the other justices, seriously, the more conservative judges, they're not even going to bother with Ketanji Brown Jackson, because she really, honestly, from a legal standpoint, she doesn't know anything near as to what she should know. She just doesn't. And so Amy Coney Barrett says, we're not even going to bother with it. That's kind of how I'm feeling with some of these Democrats, like for example, crying Alex Padilla. A few more random senators for good measure.
This bill would add more than $3 trillion to the national debt.
It seems as if it was drafted just to make a mockery of the wills and wishes of the majority of people in this country.
creating chaos for state budgets and hardship for families.
I mean, it goes on and on. Hardship for families. Please tell me with the tax credit, please tell me how this is going to be a hardship for families. Please tell me with the tax cuts and the higher standard deduction, how exactly is this going to be tougher for American families? Oh, wait a minute. It's not. 6:15, time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes, today a high of 88, possible thunderstorms as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. So you just heard a whole bunch of Democrats fear-mongering, of course, and frankly lying through their teeth about this bill. And just so you know, I'm not emotionally attached to this bill like some of these folks are. I'm really not. But number one, I do see the benefits of this bill. And number two, it really ticks me off when I know that these Democrats are lying through their teeth. John Rose, the congressman, was on my show yesterday, and he did say, yes, this is all about growth that is going to come through giving the American people more of their own money to spend. And that does spur the economy.
So it is absolutely true. If you look at the overall impact of the One Big Beautiful Bill, obviously when I say the largest tax increase in American history, you could look at it the other way and say if we don't pass this, tax decrease, if we don't pass this on January 1st, we would have the largest tax increase in American history. And so the biggest feature of the One Big Beautiful Bill is that it provides certainty to Americans, particularly small businesses and businesses all across this country, about what their tax future is going to be.
You know, one of the things that happens in these moments is that the Democrats, and by the way, Republicans do it too, where they'll cherry pick, they'll start cherry picking things within the legislation, and they'll say, well, this is bad, and this is bad, and this is bad. Okay, but what about the overall? What about the overall positive parts of this bill? Because I think that there are a lot of positives here. This is from the Washington Examiner. You ready? The bill will make the small business deduction permanent, and it increases that by 20%. That's for small business owners. According to IRS data, since they were enacted in 2017, Donald Trump's tax cuts have helped support 2.6 million jobs, billions in GDP, and annual employee compensation also in the billions. Small businesses will also be able to invest. Once enacted, they will be able to expense research and development costs. That is huge. In other words, the Trump administration, what they're doing is they're encouraging growth. They're encouraging businesses to do research and development because they know that that's how you grow an economy. And all of these things mean that the money that we're talking about is going back to small businesses so that they can hire people, so that they can create that bigger tax base.
It generates more tax revenue. We already know that when these tax cuts, many of them that were a part of the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, when they were fully implemented, they in fact did result in a faster growing U.S. economy, such that ultimately they didn't really cost anything. They paid off because the growth in tax revenue more than offset the cost. And that's what we will see happen here.
All right. So again, basically not to belabor the point, but what he's saying is that we're going to have a lot of income to the federal government because of the tax decreases. People get more money, they spend more money. You get the increase in sales tax. Also, people get hired. I mean, it goes on and on. So to me, I have somewhat come around on this bill, although I do still have my reservations. But can I tell you why I don't trust the Democrats? Because the Democrats, I played you the audio of all of the hysteria of these Democrats talking about it. And I mentioned this a couple of times overnight, too. where remember the Democrats once called that massive Joe Biden spending bill the Inflation Reduction Act? Remember that? Do you remember the Inflation Reduction Act when even the Democrats said, after it passed, we really shouldn't have called it the Inflation Reduction Act because, it actually does just the opposite. And of course, we all know that inflation skyrocketed under Joe Biden, even though they told us that it wouldn't. In other words, they can sit here and they can scream. They can sit here and they can, talk about how we're going to destroy America's economy, so on and so forth. But they thought that the Inflation Reduction Act and they thought that Joe Biden's spending programs would be good for America. And ultimately, they weren't. So I'm sorry. Excuse me if I don't jump on the, this bill is a bad thing bandwagon along with the Democrats. By the way, what is good on this bill? It's going to reduce taxes by extending the Trump tax cuts from 2017, also increases the tax cuts even further. They say if this passes, the standard deduction will be $16,000 for single filers, $32,000 for joint filers, and $24,000 for head of household. Also, no tax on car loans, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, child tax credits, immigration enforcement, military funding increase, and cuts to Medicaid. Basically what it would do, and this is one of the things that everybody's talking about, basically Republicans want to institute work requirements 80 hours per month. 80. That's like 20 a week. Do you think you can handle it? 20 hours a week for able-bodied adults under the age of 65, with exceptions, including for parents of children under the age of 14. So listen, I think the Republicans, I believe that they can get this done. There's a lot of good in this for the Republican Party. And remember, if this ultimately gets signed into law, then heading into the midterm elections will be the party that gave the American people a huge decrease in taxes, a large tax cut, and that will be huge in the midterm elections. 6:23, time to find out from Joan Jones what is happening in the news at 6:30.
Oh, it's another amendment from another Democrat that's being debated on the floor and being voted on as the big, beautiful bill continues to be talked about on the Senate floor this morning. We'll bring you the latest and who the holdouts are and also some brand new news on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. That's all coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.624 Nashville's Morning News, Mark Spain Real Estate. Listen, the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, it is the easiest way to sell your home. You can save time and make the most money and eliminate all the hassle this summer when you sell your home with Mark Spain Real Estate. And yes, their guaranteed offer. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate was ranked on the Inc. 5000 list of the fastest growing companies in the U.S. for now the 8th year in a row. They respond fast, and they are one of the most experienced real estate teams in Nashville. The Wall Street Journal and Real Trends have also consistently named Mark Spain Real Estate as the top real estate team in America for 8 years in a row, including being ranked number 1 as far as real estate teams go in the nation for closed transactions for now 5 consecutive years. So many great things to say about one company, my company, Mark Spain Real Estate, and yes, their guaranteed offer. Call them, 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD. You can find them online anytime. It's markspain.com and start packing. 629, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, we got Matthew Hurt coming up next. We have a lot to speak about with him. And I think that CNN really, and I mean really, stepped in it. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It's Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 6:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and we begin with what's happening on Capitol Hill as senators continue holding their vote-a-rama on Trump's mega bill. And what we're learning is that J.D. Vance has arrived at the Senate this morning. What exactly he's there to do is not known. But what we do know is that there are 4 Republican holdouts. Here's Fox and Friends' Brian Kilmeade.
They don't have at least 4 votes. They don't have Tillis. They don't have Paul. They don't have Collins, and they don't have Murkowski. Now, it looks like Senator Murkowski says, I just need a carve-out for not to shield Alaska from Medicaid cuts. And the caucus agreed with it. But the parliamentarians said no. So it looks like there was seeing Lindsey Graham talking to her, John Thune, Barrasso all talking to her, and her shaking her head.
And they also report that Susan Collins wanted an amendment that raises the tax rate for the nation's most wealthy people. Right now, senators are voting on an amendment brought by Democrat Chris Van Hollen. And we will keep an eye on this and continue reporting to you what's happening. A federal magistrate's holding Kilmar Abrego Garcia in jail until at least mid-July, agreeing with his lawyers that should he be released before his trial, he would probably just get deported. Abrego Garcia was indicted by a federal grand jury on 2 charges of human smuggling in May. He has pleaded not guilty. And the cause of a massive fire at a downtown parking garage in early June remains a mystery. The Nashville Fire Department wrapped up its initial phase of the investigation, and they say they have only a suspected cause. They had been considering 3 primary theories: an electrical failure, arson, and weather. But arson and weather have been ruled out. That is the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here at 6:32. I want to tell you about my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They want to send you to the beach. That's right. If you buy an HVAC system from Busy Bee, you are in the running for a weekend beach trip. Now, they're going to announce the winner on Facebook. They're going to pick up the gas, the lodging, and the meals, and you can find the details at their website, busybeehvac.com. Now, this is just another way that they want to say thank you to you. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, every single month, they offer you some great specials to save you money. Now, if you need those air ducts cleaned, go ahead and buy that middle tier package from Busy Bee. Then they will turn around and upgrade you to the deluxe for free. If you need an upright or tankless water heater, they're giving you $500 off right now. They got a ton of specials waiting for you online, busybeehvac.com, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
How would you like to have Jesus Christ pray for you? Did you know that Jesus Christ does pray for you if you're a Christian? Hebrews 7:25 says, "Therefore he is able also to save forever those who draw near to God through him, since he always lives to make intercession for them." In Scripture, intercession means to pray on behalf of. Jesus Christ is your advocate. An advocate comes to our aid or pleads our case to a judge, offering support and counsel and interceding for us when necessary. In other verses, Jesus calls the Holy Spirit our advocate. just like you talk to yourself. When Jesus talks to himself, it's prayer. The Bible says no matter what you go through today, next week, or next year, Jesus is praying for you if you have trusted him as your Savior. He's on your side.
Okay, 24 westbound, that accident at Almaville Road, exit 70, now making a bigger mess on the roadway. It's right there in Smyrna on 24 westbound at Almaville Road that you'll slow down. Also in Antioch, Antioch Pike near Chadfield Drive, there's a crash involving injuries. And Murfreesboro Pike, eastbound side near Smith Springs Road, police... it's a police chase. They've been chasing somebody who they believe has been robbing vehicles. They're chasing him on the outbound on Murfreesboro Road. That car pulled over, and they're asking that you give room to that site this morning. The vehicle's tires were spiked, and it's been riding on rims. So if you see the vehicle moving or if you see it on the shoulder, again, avoid that area if you can. Give the police some space. It's Murfreesboro Pike, eastbound side near Smith Springs Road. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.637, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Matthew Hurt is joining us back from a luxurious vacation. Where were you, Matthew?
Dan, I was in Portugal for about a week last week. It was a great time, and it's a great time to be back in D.C. as the Senate has been voting for, almost 24 hours on this big, beautiful bill.
Yeah, it is insane. So from what we understand, there's 4 holdouts. Rand Paul, Lisa Murkowski, Tom Tillis, and Susan Collins. So now we have the Vice President J.D. Vance there. Now, and help me with my math, if I'm incorrect here, feel free to fact check me. But if all 4 of those senators are voting no, then J.D. Vance cannot break a tie because 3 is going to be a tie, 4 is going to be a loss, correct?
Dan, I think your math is right, but the weakest no, and you said it in the last segment, is Senator Rand Paul. According to ABC this morning, they seem to think that he wants to squabble about the debt ceiling from lowering the increase from $5 trillion to $500 billion. So I think there is a gray area there that will move Senator Paul back into the yes column for this bill, which would then give J.D. Vance the opportunity to cast that tie-breaking vote.
So I know that you and I were both concerned about the raising of the debt limit and, all the various organizations that have said that this would increase our debt and our deficit. And so I know that there's a lot in this bill for the American people. I've been going through it for especially the last several days as this story has heated up. So where are you at right now? Number one, do you believe that this is going to pass? And number two, if you were on the Senate floor, Matthew Hurt, would you vote yay or nay?
Oh, 2 very tough questions. When Vice President Vance walked into the Capitol this morning, and he was asked, do you think this is going to pass? He says, we're going to find out. So we are going to find out. We know that President Trump wants to sign this bill on July 4th. That's just a few days away, America's 249th birthday. When it comes to bringing votes, counting votes, usually a state legislative body leadership or federal legislative body leadership doesn't bring the full vote to the floor until he or she has the votes. So I think once we get through a bit of this performative action from the Democrats and some substantive amendments from both parties, I think the numbers will be there. I'm not a betting man, but I think the numbers will be there. And then, Dan, quite honestly, I don't know how I would vote on this. I like the principled stand of Senator Paul. I like the principled stand of somebody like Congressman Thomas Massie. We have to get this spending under control. The tax cuts in this bill would stimulate the economy. We know that for a fact. For 45, 50 years of economic data shows that when taxes are lower, the economy is better off. But the spending is absolutely out of control, and this all goes back to about half of the Republican senators who just refuse to do their jobs, who just refuse to make those tough cuts and over again, who are failing the American people. The reason why Americans voted for Donald Trump is to drain the swamp, and about half the Senate Republicans refuse to do that.
Let me ask you, this is kind of sort of related. Apparently in this bill, there is a provision that will not allow states to regulate AI for like 10 years. States will not be allowed to regulate AI for 10 years. It's like a 10-year moratorium on AI laws at the state level. Senator Marsha Blackburn has introduced an amendment now, this was last night, seeking to strip that 10-year moratorium on state-level laws regulating artificial intelligence from the One Big Beautiful Bill. So this is amongst my conservative friends, this is a very big deal. What do you think about this? Why would the federal government not want states to be able to regulate AI? And Tennessee, by the way, we have some very specific issues because we have a lot of musicians in this town whose voices can be mimicked utilizing AI.
Well, Senator Blackburn, for as long as she has been in Washington, first in the House and now in the Senate, a big constituency that she had when she represented Brentwood and the Nashville area was the singer-songwriter community. I remember going to events with singer-songwriters for then Congressman Marsha Blackburn back in the late 2000s. This amendment passed 99-1 with Tom Tillis being the only holdout. So broad bipartisan support. It remains to be seen. So as a process, this bill will definitely go to conference. A lot of things were stripped out from the House version. So we're not sure what the final piece will look like as it may head to the president's desk later this week. But this is something that Senator Blackburn has been pretty consistent about over 15 or 20 years or so. I'm a little concerned. So there's a philosophical argument. Should states have the right to regulate? I believe generally yes. But think about things that your users or your listeners may use all the time: Grok, ChatGPT, and other things. If you cross the state line into Kentucky or Alabama, are you going to have access to the same technology and the same resources? So I don't know if philosophically it's a good idea, but from a Senate perspective, I mean, 99 senators from Bernie Sanders to Marsha Blackburn were on board with this. So we'll see as it makes its way, like I said, through the process. I'm not sure if this is going to be in the bill that the president may sign later this week.
Matthew, coming up, Matthew Hurt joining us. Coming up, I want to ask you, I just find this really interesting. There's a Gallup poll that came out. This is just kind of like a more generic, broad question. But a Gallup poll came out, percentage of Americans who say they are very or extremely proud to be American. In 2001, 87% of Democrats said they were extremely proud to be an American. That number among Democrats has dropped to 36%. Dropped 36% since 2001. Meantime, Republicans Back in 2001, 90% of us said we were extremely proud to be American. That number has gone up by 2 ticks here in 2025. So coming up, I got to check the traffic, but coming up, I want to talk about why it is that you believe that the Democrats are far less proud to be Americans here in 2025. It is 6:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather for today, a high of 88, possible thunderstorms as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. So, Matthew Hurt, what do you think? What's up with the Democrats? Why are they far less proud to be Americans these days than they were back in 2001?
Well, looking at the dips in this poll, in this Gallup poll.
Well, the dips are the Democrats.
The dips are always the Democrats in this instance. They dipped the first time during the end of the 2000s in the Iraq War as the Bush 2 reelect happened. They then dipped in the first Trump election, spiked back up when Joe Biden was elected to 62%, and then back down to 36%. This is culturally the politicization of everything. If you are an average American and you happen upon this radio station but you don't think about politics, you are probably a patriotic American. If you are a regular listener of this station, you are probably a patriotic American. But if you watch MSNBC and you read CNN and you used to listen to Al Gore on progressive talk radio, your patriotism is tied to whether or not Republicans are in control. And if they are in control, you are not patriotic. And if they are not in control, you are more patriotic, but not quite as patriotic as Republicans. So this is the politicization of everything by the left. It is in our culture now. And I think it's dangerous. I think that America is the greatest country in the world. I think it is why so many people come here. I think it is why we have great companies and tech companies and other entrepreneurial adventures that take place here. People come here because of the American dream. And there is no French dream. There is no Venezuelan dream. There is no German dream. There is only the American dream, and people come from all over the world. And it is a shame that mostly Democrats here say that they're not patriotic just because somebody's in the White House or somebody's running Congress.
Let me ask you, in the news the last couple of days, Elon Musk and Donald Trump chirping back and forth again. Elon is saying that if the big, beautiful bill passes the Senate, passes the House, and ultimately ends up law, that he will, the day that happens, start a new political party, that caters to Americans who are worried about that deficit and all that. So, I mean, it's my contention that if that happens, if Elon Musk really does that, then that will actually help the Democrats because that splits the Republican vote. But how seriously do you take Elon Musk? Do you take him at his word that he'll do this?
Yeah, Elon Musk is showing a little bit of his South African. As I've said on this station a number of times, the American political system is a two-party, first-past-the-post, winner-take-all system. It does not support independent third parties. The Green Party, the Libertarian Party, never scratched more than about 2% of the vote nationally. It is just not feasible in the way that our politics is organized. We are not the United Kingdom. We are not Germany. We're not France. We don't have a parliamentary system of government that allows for this. Ballot access is different from state to state. Many states, it is incredibly difficult for third-party candidates to get on the ballot under a party banner, something other than independent. Tennessee is one such example. And it's just not feasible. The silver lining here is that he did say, and this is where Elon Musk can make a difference and still improve the Republican Party. He seemed to indicate in a tweet over the last day or so that he was going to support Thomas Massie in his reelect for Congress in northern Kentucky. And so I think that is where individuals who are frustrated with the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, say David Hogg on the left or Elon Musk on the right, are able to do so within the primary process. That's where those decisions are made, and voters, come November, they get most of the time two choices, a Republican or a Democrat.
All right, it is 6:50 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Do you have any predictions as far as the timeline goes with this whole Votorama thing? And eventually, when is this gonna all play out? Are they gonna hit the July 4th deadline?
Well, the senators have done something they don't often do. They worked all weekend and into this week. It's a busy week in Washington, and I think the timeline, if things will come together. I think if the president wants to sign this bill on Friday, July 4th, he's going to have that opportunity. And then we're celebrating America's greatness. And, this is the 249th birthday of the greatest country on earth. And I'm so happy to be part of that here in the nation's capital.
One more question. I know that you like to go to exotic places, Matthew Hurt, and let's kick it. Any plans to go to Alligator Alcatraz for your next vacation?
Dan, I was doing some research in the last segment, and this was supposed to be the largest airport in the United States in the 1970s. Mm-hmm. And so, fascinating history to this location. This is geographically, it's a great location to then move people out of the U.S. back to Central and South America. But Florida is not on my travel plans this year or this summer. I'm headed back to Europe a couple of more times for work over the next 2 months.
What are you doing in Europe? Where are you going in Europe? Tell me.
London next week to train conservatives, European conservatives, to win again. Canada and England and Australia all three have had some depressing election outcomes. And my full-time job is helping people win elections and get jobs in conservative public policy. And so I'm headed out next week to make sure that happens again for our friends in the United Kingdom and Western Europe.
Very cool. Well, have fun with that. And I don't know if we'll be able to have you on from Europe. If not, we'll talk to you when you get back, and have a great 4th of July weekend. It is 6:51 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. And hey, Joan, you think he'll let us call him when he's in Europe?
I think probably not.
You don't think so?
He'll not only refuse your call, but he'll call police and tell them to stop having you stalk him.
He'll probably block me.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
And I would tell him I've been blocked by better than you.
Anyway. How would you say that? You're already blocked.
Joan, what's coming up in the news?
Okay, so we are keeping our eye on the Votorama that's still continuing on the Senate floor this morning. And also, locally, police have identified a body that washed ashore at Percy Priest Lake yesterday. We've got those stories and more coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here, and I want to talk to you about something that is truly life-changing. Vision correction surgery at Vision for Life. Now, this is where, of course, I went, as you know. I had eye surgery, vision correction surgery months ago, and I'm really happy with what Dr. Horn and all the pros at Vision for Life did for me, and they'll do it for you as well. Now, listen, I'm like a lot of you. I thought that all vision surgeries were the same. I believed that everything was just LASIK, but after doing my research, I learned that Vision for Life offers a variety of advanced procedures tailored to each person's unique needs. Now, Dr. Horn doesn't just restore your vision. He restores your confidence and your freedom. Freedom from glasses and contacts and those pesky struggles like driving at night or reading small print. Now, I've taken the life-changing step because Vision for Life made the process simple and clear, answering all my questions and matching me with the perfect procedure. They're going to do the same thing for you. So call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. If you're thinking about vision correction surgery, Vision for Life and Dr. Horn, these are the folks you need to reach out to. 615-436-2020, 615-436-2020, visionforlife.com. 6:57, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you being here. There's a lot of stories that, with so many major stories that we are following today, there's a couple of stories that I want to make sure that I mention, even if I don't, get to do a deep dive like I like to do with some of these stories. But one of them, and this is really, really interesting, where Donald Trump, of course, he is going to, as they say, war against a sanctuary city. Can you guess which one it is? It's Los Angeles. Headline from the Daily Mail: Trump goes to war against sanctuary city Los Angeles with a major lawsuit. Now, the reason why I don't believe that this is as important as a story as the other ones that I have is because Trump has already filed lawsuits against other sanctuary cities as well. But here's what he's doing. Donald Trump is ramping up his war against liberal sanctuary city Los Angeles with a new major lawsuit. It's all about the riots and illegal immigration. The Justice Department, led by Trump appointee Pam Bondi, suing the city on Monday following weeks of anti-ICE riots and destruction. The lawsuit argues that LA's policies attempting to deliberately thwart the work of immigration agents violates federal law. And I believe that it does. Sanctuary policies were the driving cause of the violence, the chaos, and the attacks on law enforcement that Americans recently witnessed in Los Angeles, Pam Bondi said in a statement to the Daily Mail. And so, that's going to be one of those really interesting stories to see how the whole thing plays out, because I do believe that they do have a legit case against Los Angeles. It is 6:59 on Nashville's Morning News. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Watch us on Facebook, watch us on X, watch us on YouTube, and also at 997WTN.com. Listen anywhere you go with the iHeartRadio app or the WTN or the TuneIn radio app. It is 7 o'clock on WTN.
Well, hello there. It is now 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Mostly cloudy right now. It's 76 degrees. Maybe some scattered thunderstorms today with a high of 88 degrees. More in the forecast still to come here. The Vote-A-Rama continues this morning on President Trump's big, beautiful bill. It's the stalling process being performed by Democrats. Chad Pergram at Fox News says Republicans should be concerned. Chad Pergram at Fox News says Republicans should be concerned about what happens if that bill does pass the Senate and then returns to the House for approval.
House conservatives like Keith Self, who is a Republican from Texas, very conservative. He was in with House Speaker Mike Johnson yesterday saying, we need this bill to look a little bit more like the House bill. There are some House conservatives who believe that this bill changed too much. The Freedom Caucus put out a statement yesterday saying that this bill in the Senate is not what they voted for. So it's not like just, working on 2 or 3 people in the House. It's more like a coalition of maybe 20 or 30, which might be in play.
Yeah, more as we learn about it this morning. A surprise plea agreement in the case of the 4 murdered University of Idaho students. Prosecutors have accepted a plea deal from Brian Koberger, who will avoid the death penalty now. But he will be sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences with no chance of parole.
In a letter sent to family members of the victims, prosecutors writing, "This resolution is our sincere attempt to seek justice for your family. This agreement ensures that the defendant will be convicted, will spend the rest of his life in prison, and will not be able to put you and other families through the uncertainty of decades of post-conviction appeals."
ABC's Lionel Moisey there. The families of the 4 murdered students say they were shut out of that process. A state park ranger has found the body of a man that washed up on shore at Percy Priest Lake yesterday, and now identified that body as that of 27-year-old Willie Fernando Godoy, who went missing last Wednesday. At that time, his truck and his belongings were found right in the same area where his body was recovered yesterday. Officials say they saw no signs of foul play. Starting today, anybody caught impersonating a rideshare or taxi driver in Tennessee will be slapped with a Class B misdemeanor. Here's News 2's Chris Nall.
The issue got statewide attention last year after a man claimed he mistakenly got into a fake taxi and was charged an outrageous fare for a short ride. And it turns out he's not alone.
Had incidents like that back in Canada, and it's hard to tell the difference, so I agree with it, and I love the idea.
Now, the Class B misdemeanor carries a sentence of 6 months in jail and a $500 fine. This new law, along with many others, begins being enforced in Tennessee starting today. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures trending lower now after another record was reached on the S&P 500 index yesterday. Dow futures now are minus 35. NASDAQ futures down 70. S&P futures falling 14 points. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got a crash involving injuries. Una Antioch Pike near Chadfield Drive this morning. And that's really the only big delay that I'm seeing. You're touching the brakes as you're traveling in southbound on 65 and 24 coming from the north. Also this morning on 840, it looks like it's a little bit slow this morning as well. 24 really is looking fairly good with the exception of that one area this morning. As you're traveling up near Laverne, looks like things start to slow down, and that's just normal volume as well. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.707 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so apparently Donald Trump, Joan,
Yes.
was asked about deporting Elon Musk, and Trump apparently said that he'd have to take a look.
No, stop.
That's what people are saying on the internet, so it must be true.
Of course.
Now, if you are unaware of the immense amount of drama this morning, we've been talking about it. I think we have not discussed it much in the last hour or so. But Donald Trump, as he is prone to do, as he is apt to do, overnight he was posting on Truth Social. And one of the things that he did, he went after Elon Musk, and he went after Elon Musk big time. And Joan, I think he took it down.
No. Yeah?
Hold on. He took it down. Either that or he's been going an awful lot. Jeez, Louise. Hold on. Here it is. No, he did not take it down. He's just been very active today. My apologies. So this is what Donald Trump said about Elon Musk, and Elon, of course, saying if the big beautiful bill passes, he's going to start another political party, and that would what I believe it would do if it's like an independent party is he would split the conservative vote. That's bad for us and good for the Democrats. Donald Trump posted this about midnight last night. Elon Musk knew long before he so strongly endorsed me for president that I was strongly against the EV mandate. It is ridiculous and always a major part of my campaign. Electric cars are fine, but not everyone should be forced to own one. Elon may get more subsidy than any human being in history by far, and without subsidies, Elon would probably have to close up shop, head back to South Africa, no more rocket launches, no more satellites, no more electric car production. The president saying in our country would save a fortune. Perhaps we should have Doge take a good, hard look at all this. Big money to be saved. So Trump, basically, he is threatening Elon Musk. He's threatening Elon Musk, and I don't think he's going to, I just stop at the whole deportation thing. That's just dumb. But, I can see if Donald Trump, if he gets, his mind in a certain space, then he'll do whatever he needs to do to, cut Elon Musk down a peg or two. And it sounds like he wants to turn Doge onto Elon Musk. Here's the deal, though. Can I just tell you, this is where some people are going to get mad at me. Elon Musk saved those astronauts. And if it wasn't for Elon Musk, those poor astronauts, Butch Wilmore, of course, he's from Mount Juliet, they might still be up there. So I just think that these two need to go to their damn corners and chill out. And I don't know if Donald Trump actually did say we'll have to wait and see, and if he was laughing about it when he said that he'll have to take a look at deporting Elon Musk, because I think that's just dumb. That is just dumb. But we'll have to see where it goes, because this is CNN was opening with this. As a matter of fact, it's 7-Eleven. Breaking news, Trump threatens Doge probe of subsidies for Musk's companies. So, I think these threats are real. I think, and I said this before, I think Donald Trump is over the drama. I think he is over the drama, and I think that he is ready to move on. And if he's got Elon Musk, chirping at him every time he's trying to do something, he just doesn't want to deal with that anymore. But I don't think that they should be talking about deporting Elon Musk. That idiot out of New York, absolutely. I'm just kidding. Andy Ogles, by the way, did you see this?
Why do you have to be kidding about that? Come on.
I know. I'm actually really not kidding.
Good.
I have a segment on that. You want me to go ahead and do the segment on that now?
Yeah.
The mayor,
Do you have time?
the mayor hopeful of mayoral hopeful of New York. Let me see if I can find. That's not where I was going to go today. But okay, Zorhan Mandami. The controversy continues here. So we know everything that he wants to do. Caroline Levitt, by the way, was asked about this, and this is what Caroline Levitt had to say about Mandami. And here it is. Listen.
Does President Trump want Zorhan Mandami deported? I haven't heard him say that. I haven't heard him call for that. But certainly he does not want this individual to be elected. I was just speaking to him about it and his radical policies that will completely crush New York City, which is obviously a city that the president holds near and dear to his heart.
Yeah, I've always wondered, and Joan, do you have any opinion on this? Why do people in New York hate Donald Trump so much? Because he literally built that city. I mean, helped build it.
Well, maybe they're upset that he left.
He left because they hated him.
Yeah.
So
I'll give you one letter Y.
R.
Correct.
All right.
Boom. I'm glad we were on the same page there. I'm glad you got it.
Same page, great minds. $65 million for transgender services is what Mandami wants to do. He wants fast and free buses for folks. I mean, we know all the stuff that he wants to do. I've been talking about it ad nauseum. So one of the things that they talk about is the reason why Andy Ogles wants to deport him. And it has to do with his rap lyrics. Listen.
There's this Congressman, Andy Ogles. He wants the Attorney General Bondi to explore denaturalization proceedings because he thinks Mamdani could have misrepresented or concealed material support for terrorism based on rap lyrics he wrote in 2017. Does President Trump think this is a worthwhile use of the Attorney General's time?
Now, when I first heard that Congressman Andy Ogles was going to talk about denaturalizing him and deporting him, I'm going to admit there was a little bit of an eye roll, but Ogles might be onto something. Have you heard the justification, Joan, the actual justification for deporting this guy?
No.
It's actually really interesting. So here's what happens is when you are going through the naturalization process, you have to fill out a form, and it's a form called the N-400. On this form, you have to acknowledge that you have some sort of a support or a relationship or whatever with foreign enemies or terrorists or whatever. And so he filled out that form in 2018. The timeline is important. In 2018, he filled out that form, that N-400. It would appear that he lied on that form.
Oh.
The rest of the story coming up after traffic on WTN. Weather today, a high of 88 and possible thunderstorms. And so Andy Ogles, he posted this to his social media. He says, if this communist, anti-Semitic, jihadist loves the third world so much, to the point he would lie about it to immigration officers, we can arrange for his speedy delivery back to Uganda. And so I thought it was interesting how you have Ogles, and a lot of people eye rolled on this. I will admit that I eye rolled on it at first. But if you go down the road, he did lie, it seems, on his N-400 form, which makes him eligible to be booted from the country, going through denaturalization processes, it would appear. When someone, again, becomes a citizen, they have to disclose any support for a terrorist organization. That is apparently actually on the form. So he wrote some rap lyrics, Joan. We played yesterday the little song that he did. Well, he wrote some rap lyrics that were actually clearly supportive of people that were supportive of Hamas.
Oh.
Andy Ogles spoke about this. He was on Newsmax last night. Listen.
Part of the process when you fill out the naturalization forms, which, here's a copy of one here, is you've got to disclose your activities. So like communism, anti-American activities. And so in 2018, when he was naturalized, he failed to disclose some of the things that he had been doing, one of which was joining the Democrat Socialists of America. That's a communist organization, which, quite frankly, at that time would have disqualified him from becoming a United States citizen. So what we're encouraging to do is the Justice Department to look into the timing of his joining that organization. It would have been anti-American. It would have fit the definition of what he would have been required to disclose, and quite frankly, would have made him most likely ineligible to become a naturalized citizen.
I think real quick, I'm going to get back to that story, but Trump is speaking outside of the White House. Can you or Joan, KGB or Joan, can somebody bring that up? It's on CNN right now. Donald Trump is speaking.
I have it right here.
Pull it up.
Yep.
Crazy. Elon Musk. Who? What happened to Elon Musk?
Nothing. You know, he's upset he's losing his EV mandate, and he's very upset about things, but he could lose a lot more than that. I can tell you right now. Hey, Elon can lose a lot more than that. We hope it's going to happen, and we're looking forward to happening sometime next week. We want to get our hostages out. We want to get the hostages out.
What if the big beautiful bill doesn't pass? You have to go through item by item by item and pass this stuff one at a time, or are you just going to try again?
I think we're going to get there. It's tough. We're trying to break it down so it's really good for the country. Trying to get a lot for everybody, and it's a big bill. And smaller bills would have been easy, but they wouldn't have been as good. I think it's going to do okay.
And with the Alligator Alcatraz, is the idea that if some illegal immigrant escapes, they just get eaten by an alligator or a snake or something?
I guess that's the concept. This is not a nice business. I guess that's the concept. If snakes are fast, but alligators are, we're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison. How to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? Your chances go up about 1%. Okay? It's not a good thing.
What are you going to talk to Netanyahu about Monday?
Well, he's coming here. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about the great success we had. I mean, we had an incredible, in Iran, we had an incredible success. Like really nobody's had in many, many years. That was a precision war strike, and the word obliteration can now be used because the Atomic Energy Commission said you can't even get into the place. It was demolished. It was really demolished. It was a great, brilliant strike, and how to go forward. We're also going to talk about Gaza. We want to get the rest. We got a lot of hostages back, but we're going to talk about Gaza. I don't know. I think we'll have to take a look. We might have to put Doge on Elon. You know what Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible?
Oh, Lord.
Please
stop. A lot of subsidies, Peter. But Elon's very upset that the EV mandate is going to be terminated. And you know what? When you look at it, not everybody wants an electric car. I don't want an electric car. I want to have maybe gasoline, maybe electric, maybe a hybrid, maybe someday a hydrogen. If you have a hydrogen car, it has one problem. It blows up, So I'm going to give that one to Peter. I'm going to let Peter test it out. The hydrogen cars, and when they blow up, it's serious. They find you 5 blocks away. It's that bad.
How are the main talks going? Are there any countries we can expect to see before the July 9th deadline?
Everything's going well. Honestly, everything. This is very complicated because it's very big, a lot of different areas. Look, the Republicans have their heart in it. The Democrats they just want to destroy our country. A Democrat wants to destroy the country. They won't vote on it. They don't vote on anything. This is the biggest tax cut in history. Everything is the biggest in history. It's the best bill we've ever had. We can't get one Democrat vote.
When do you think you'll get final?
Nice guy, Peter. What do you think?
Very nice guy.
When do you think you'll get final passage of the bill?
Hopefully soon. Hopefully today, if we can. Final passage. When I say final is let's take Senate at a time, okay? But I think Senate could be today, and we go over to the House.
And what about Senator Murkowski? Is there any way to placate her?
Who knows? You tell me. Is there? Alaska's done so well with me. There's never been a president better to Alaska than me. But it doesn't mean people appreciate it. Have a good time.
Is that it?
Yep, he's walking away. Yeah, they're still shouting questions, but he's
All right.
It looks like it's over.
So I learned a couple of things.
What'd you learn?
From that. I think that Donald Trump and Elon Musk, I think that Donald Trump, that was clearly a message for Elon Musk, number one. And that jives with what I was talking about earlier with what he posted on True Social. So we'll have to see if Elon responds to that. So that's number one. I learned that Trump and Elon, that is broken. And I don't want Trump to go down this road. I really don't.
Right.
Because I think we need Elon Musk.
We do. We do need Elon Musk.
Yeah.
But that appears to be irretrievably broken.
The other thing I learned is that if you are running away from an alligator, you've got to do it in
side
zigzaggy.
by side. Yeah.
He said like this, which is great on the radio, but zigzag.
Yeah.
That's what the president said.
And it increases your chances of survival by 1%.
Fake news.
You think it's more?
No.
You don't?
That's not true.
Oh.
I looked at howstuffworks.com.
Oh, okay.
I spent all this time, like when he was talking,
Yeah.
like looking up, is it better to run away from an alligator zigzaggy or straight and all this? Well, here's what they say. The truth is, although alligators are frighteningly quick, they're not cheetah fast, and they don't like to run long distances. They do say that the average human could easily outrun an alligator, zigzagging or not. It tops out at a speed of about 9.5 miles per hour, and it cannot maintain that speed for very long. So you don't have to, go zigzaggy to outrun the alligator. You just got to run in a straight line, just faster than the alligator. So there you go. I guess we're done. It is.
You know what? I'm watching the
What are you
most
watching?
amazing thing that's happening right now. There's a woman who's leading police in Nashville on a 5 mile per hour chase, and they've been leading this chase for hours. Right now, they're on I-24. I just learned that it's close to Nashville. But
Okay.
they're not saying exactly where. But what happened was she was pulled. The police saw her early this morning sleeping behind the wheel of the car. So they knock on the window. They try to wake her up. She rams her car, this car that she, by the way, has stolen, into the police officers' cars and takes off. So they deploy spike strips. And the car now has absolutely there's no tread on the tires. She's rolling on the bare metal wheels.
And she's on I-24?
She's on I-24 going about 5 miles an hour. They're trying just to get her to pull over or wait till the car runs out of gas. And it's been going on for hours. She's got multiple warrants out for her arrest.
Oh, she's going to have a few more.
Oh, yeah, I think so. And she's still going, and she's weaving all over the roadway.
Okay.
So, be aware that she's out there right now. They're out there with her on I-24 westbound, close to Nashville. And this just keeps on going and going and going. Now, she's got a lot of police officers around her, and there's now some TDOT vehicles behind her.
Yeah.
Telling everyone to get over to the side if you want to get around her. But,
okay.
Yeah, that's what's happening. And I was watching it in real time. Just, wow.
Okay, very good. It is 7:25, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Let's go ahead and forego the news tease because we're now running a little late, but along with probably people driving into town on I-24 because of that lady. So you want to play the promo, then I'll do the live spot? Is that what we're going to do? I'm just going to, okay, Jesus. KGB's freaking out. Usually don't freak out this much. I'll read the live commercial.
Usually he's sleeping by this time, so.
He is. It's almost like he's awake. It's like very odd to see KGB actually awake at 7:26.
Give me an aneurysm, man. Just go.
All right. Specialty Coatings. Dan Mandis here. Listen, if you're a business owner and your concrete floors need some help, Specialty Coatings, they can help you. Now, if you think about your floor at your business and it's a mess, well, that is a reflection of your business. Specialty Coatings, they can help you. They specialize in concrete floor coatings and polished concrete. They've been doing it for 30 years. You've probably walked on some of their incredible concrete flooring. And they've done some of the major sports stadiums in town. They've done the arenas and the convention centers as well. You know, just last year, Specialty Coatings in Nashville installed over 1 million square feet of coatings for businesses across Tennessee. Now, those buildings include manufacturing, warehouses, airplane hangars, retail, and a lot more. Specialty Coatings isn't some fly-by-night company. No, they've got the equipment and the skilled installers to do the job right. It's going to be done on time and on budget. Look, no matter how bad your floors look, Specialty Coatings, they can fix it. And each project is customized to your building and your needs. Call them 615-591-9491, 615-591-9491. Email them, sales@specialtycoat.com, the website, specialtycoat.com.
It is now 7:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We continue to watch 24 of the westbound lanes near Briley Parkway this morning, where the police have finally taken the woman who has been driving apparently a stolen car. They've got the car to the right shoulder now, and traffic is finally being allowed to move around this scene this morning in the left lanes. You'll notice that there is a huge backup behind it, but it does look like they have taken this woman. They finally got her to the side of the road. They do not have her in custody. We're watching the police as they're taking positions behind their vehicles. The woman has gotten out of the car, and it appears that the situation is at least on its way to being resolved. We'll keep you updated. President Trump, in the meantime, took to social media overnight, warning that if his big, beautiful bill doesn't pass Congress, Americans would be hit hard with a 68% tax increase. Fox News' Chad Pergram on where this measure stands as the Senate remained in session overnight.
Now, the key amendment here might be from Rick Scott, Republican of Florida. That's on the percentage of Medicaid costs for states. And if that's adopted, then that could be a win for conservatives. They've already rejected 2 amendments to remove illegal immigrants from Medicaid. And also, a deal was in the works on limiting the 10-year moratorium for AI regulations for state and local governments. And that's been blown up, and that could be a problem.
And we will keep an eye on the voting as that begins today. Here in Nashville, a 3-year-old child clinging to life after getting hold of a gun inside the family's home in the Nations and then being shot in the head. Channel 4's Alexandria Adams.
The child's mother saying that she was asleep after getting home from work and heard a loud bang, and that's what woke her up. Metro Police telling us the child had surgery, but they are not sure if the boy will survive.
MPND says that the Youth Services Division will review the case and determine if any charges will be filed. Actor John Cusack with a hot take on the U.S. bombing of Iran's nuclear program in a post on X, saying that Iran should get a nuclear weapon to deter U.S. and Israel from bombing every country in the Middle East. Those are his words. He's also recently posted his support for socialist candidate Zorhan Mandami winning the New York City mayoral Democrat primary. Again, we are watching this morning on 24 westbound lanes. Appears to be near Briley Parkway that the lanes are now blocked again as police have been in pursuit of a car on a 5-mile-an-hour chase over the period of several hours. They now have that car to the right shoulder. And again, traffic has been blocked as they're trying to talk the woman out of her car.
All right, so I got to ask a question.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to be asking this question. I guarantee you that people are asking this question in their vehicles.
Yeah.
So why is this so difficult? She's going 5 miles an hour, force her to the side of the road and force her out of the car. And if they need to throw her down onto the concrete and put her in handcuffs or whatever, then do it. You don't know what she has in the car.
You don't know what she has in the car. Now, she got out of the car initially when they got the car to the side of the road. They were able to get her. She popped out of the car, put a hat on, and started running toward the police officers' cars. They waited for a couple of moments. Then they got out of the cars. Now, I've seen them running. They've run behind their vehicles. They're taking positions that make it appear that they may be afraid of this woman. Now they have her. They have got her. They just took her into custody. They've got her by both arms, one officer on either arm, and they're putting her in the back of their vehicle. So it looks like this may be over.
Yeah, and here's the deal. There may be some mental illness here.
Yes. Well,
so,
yes.
I mean,
some drug use or something.
Some drug use, whatever. So, I mean, hours this was going on at 5 miles an hour.
She had no tires on the car. I mean, I watched it. There's shreds of tire flinging off the car. So they did. I mean, they wanted to end this peacefully. Obviously,
yeah.
They gave her a great bit of width to keep going.
Sure.
So.
Okay.
It appears to be over now, but the traffic is still stopped. 24 westbound. It appears to be at Briley Parkway. They've moved the cameras so that the chase could be watched.
Right.
So I'm disoriented as to where exactly they're posted right now, but it appears that this will be
24
over.
westbound at 7:35 in the morning. That has got to be a mess.
Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah.
I hope employers give their employees a break because this is just causing some horrible mess on 24 West this morning.
It's Joan, when we've been talking about this week, it's not an act of God, it's an act of a woman.
Yes, well.
Anyway, moving right along.
Yeah, thank you.
By the way, it is the week of July 4th, so traffic is traditionally a lot lighter this week, too.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that. All right, moving right along. Oh,
Oh, you want me to lock out here? Okay, hey.
No, apparently I was supposed to talk.
Oh.
Yes.
And I think you're getting the eye roll from KGB.
It's the fourth one of the day. It's all good.
It's only 4?
No problem. Only 4. Well, usually when I say good morning to him, I get the eye roll just because, you know. All right, 7:36. Dan Matt is here. You know, my upstairs bathtub, it does have holes in it. They are really ugly. They do need a lot of work. And, you know, I eye roll when I see my bathtub. Well, my friends at Zentex, they're going to help me. So listen, if you've got a bathtub that needs work, they have been in business since 2001. They are here to help you. Now, they can remodel your shower, they can remodel your bathtub, even convert your bathtub into a walk-in shower. Now, these types of home improvements, you know that they can increase the value of your home, and Zintex, they can have it wrapped up in a day. Zintex is an award-winning company that offers limited lifetime warranties for both their products and their installation. Now, you can make your bathroom safer with a walk-in shower, complete with grab bars and a bench seat. Now, this is a great way to help the older folks in your life who need that assist and that support. So fix it, remodel it, or convert your tub into a shower today with Zintex. That phone number is 629-258-7747. They've got a great deal, by the way, going on right now. You mention me and WTN, you get $1,750 off or no interest for 24 months, whatever works best for you. Also, no payments for 2 years. Zintex, Zintex.com. That's Zintex.com.
Okay, so they have just pushed the entire mess on 24 westbound to the right shoulder. They've caught the woman. They've taken her into the back of the car. She was driving a stolen vehicle. So this is 24 westbound past Harding Place exit 56. The two right lanes are blocked off. Police are directing traffic into the left lanes to get around it this morning. So that is still a mess this morning, but it's going to improve. Otherwise, on the major roadways, it's looking good. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:39, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I want to welcome on into the program Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, always great to have you on. We had some breaking news here, and so we had to get to that. Now we're getting to you, and there's a lot going on today. I don't know, are you, Jonathan, I've got to ask, are you as interested in this Alligator Alcatraz as I am? Because I think this is really interesting.
I don't know if it's equivalent, but yeah, very interesting. And I think it's a very, in many ways, a good idea and a good use of resources to do this.
One of the things I find fascinating is that the left, their heads are exploding over this ice facility in the middle of the Everglades. And Donald Trump said something where they just did an interview with him outside of Air Force One. Was he joking about somebody's leg getting chomped off? Oh,
he was talking about, They were asking about, why this was so interesting to him being in this area. And he was just joking about, hey, if somebody tried to escape, their leg would get chomped off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Was he really joking? I'm just kidding. So anyway, it's really interesting. And I think, there's on CNN right now, they just had a poll, and it shows, they had a picture of H.W. Bush, W. Bush, and Donald Trump. And they're talking about Republican presidents and how they connected with, the overall GOP electorate. And it definitely showed that of those presidents, Donald Trump was the most popular when it came to connecting with GOP priorities. And I mean, George H.W., he was down around, 45, 50% within the GOP. W. Bush was a little bit higher, but Trump was in like the 60s, 63, 65%. And it was really high compared to the previous Republican presidents. I think a lot of that, Jonathan Fahey, more than likely is based on illegal immigration.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it is very funny how easily the left just gets their buttons pushed by him. I mean, it must be just so entertaining to be Donald Trump that he could say one thing and they go apoplectic over all these just things. But the funny thing is, I think you're absolutely right. Immigration has been one of these like secret sleeper issues for so long before Donald Trump hit the scene that Republicans were terrified to talk about it because they were always in this role of we need to expand our base and don't want to offend anyone, and we're like sort of this semi-woke party trying to be like Democrat light on the issue. And I think so many people saw the problem, saw it in their own communities with things like schools and healthcare and wages and other things that were truly affecting their communities. And he actually talked about it and he was honest about it. And the other thing that's interesting, when people criticize Donald Trump, and even people on the left, if you really sit them down, whether or not if they can calm down or take a sedative, they don't really disagree with most of his policies. Even people on the left don't want their kids going to an overcrowded school, and they want if somebody in their community, in their family gets sick, they want them to be able to see a doctor and not have to wait in line because all of these people came here illegally, and they want to earn money and be able to save money. So all of these, if you really sit down with them on these issues like crime, immigration and stuff, most people really do agree with them. And he has been tapping into these issues. And it really is like Donald Trump rarely gets the credit for policy. Everyone on the left just says, cult of personality. People like him because he says these things or his personality. But it really is policy. And it's not just talking about him. He actually implements or attempts to implement everything he campaigned on, and he's been quite successful with most of it, and even the things he hasn't been, he at least gives a very good faith attempt to do.
One of the things, and I'm going to ask you about this coming back, one of the things that I love that Trump is doing, the headline, Trump goes to war against Sanctuary City, Los Angeles, with a major lawsuit. This follows lawsuits against other sanctuary cities. Going to talk about that after we check the roads on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you very much. As far as your weather goes for today, 88 possible thunderstorms as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. So these lawsuits that the Trump administration, they are filing against these, major sanctuary cities, it makes a lot of sense. I totally get why he's doing it, because these cities, in effect, they're trying to prevent ICE from doing their job. What do you think the end result is going to be, you being an attorney?
A couple of things. I think these actual lawsuits, they're civil lawsuits, have a lot of merit to them because under the Supremacy Clause, when, and as you know, when state law conflicts with federal law is supreme. That's the Supremacy Clause, and that keeps the union together, because if you don't have that, then every state can have their own immigration law, their own tax law, their own anything, and then you don't really have a country. So it really makes sense to do this on the civil side, and they will, I think, prevail on these when these sanctuary cities have enacted ordinances that conflict or obstruct immigration enforcement. But the second part's even better, because in the process of civil lawsuits, you have what's called discovery, where you get information from the other side, such as emails, communications. You have a chance to depose people under oath, and they're going to end up finding a lot of, I think, criminal liability with these sanctuary cities, because under the Alien Harboring Act, if you're doing something to hide, to shield, to harbor illegal aliens from being detected by ICE, which is exactly, or being caught by ICE, which is exactly the whole purpose of these sanctuary city policies, that's a federal felony. So I think they're going to end up finding a lot of evidence that could prove that these people in these sanctuary cities, these leaders, are actually probably involved in a federal conspiracy, a harboring conspiracy to keep illegal aliens in the country, because that's really their stated goal. So there's going to be criminal liability, I think, coming down the pike as well.
So it's a very smart move. The next shoe is going to be the criminal liability, and the sanctuary cities are going to start to fall and get in line. They won't admit they're doing so, but they're going to change their policies and start cooperating with ICE on the, and this all breaks down to people in jail that they'd rather release back into the United States and have deported, which is one of the, I still can't wrap my head around how they could possibly defend this, but they, just shows the Democrats are so radical on this open borders policy, and you see it as they get crazier and crazier the more successful Donald Trump's gotten on the border.
Have you been keeping up to speed on all things Zorhan Mandami? Have you been keeping up with this story? The guy that wants to be the mayor of New York, and he's a Democratic socialist? Yeah,
I've been following it pretty closely, and it's pretty amazing even for the Democratic Party because, they are a far left party right now, but this guy might even be a bridge too far for them. So are you familiar with, before we had the breaking news, I was talking about this form N400. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with what an N400 is, but apparently when you're going through the naturalization process to become a naturalized citizen, they ask you on this form if you've, by and large, maybe vague here, but somehow if you've ever supported a terrorism. And it would appear that on this form, he lied and he said, no, I've never supported terrorism or terrorists. But the reality is that in 2017, he wrote a rap song and performed the rap song apparently called Salam, where he spoke about and he rapped about the Holy Land Five. Now, for people that don't know who the Holy Land Five is, they are some guys, 5 guys, who were convicted on 108 counts, including providing material support for terrorism, tax fraud, and money laundering. They were supporting Hamas. And so the Holy Land Five, in his lyrics, he rapped, "My love to the Holy Land Five, you better look them up." And he also rapped, "Free the Holy Land Five, my guys." So what some are saying, including Andy Ogles, who is a congressman here in the Middle Tennessee, is that when he wrote that and he rapped it in 2017, well, he filled out that N400 in 2018. He didn't include the fact that he was supportive of these, Hamas worshipers that were trying to help them in their terrorism. So, I mean, do you think this guy could actually be, as some are wanting, denaturalized and deported? He's been here since the age of 7. I think that would be unrealistic. I think it would be, interesting because it's very hard to denaturalize somebody, but I think it's interesting because all of these forms you fill out, you certify under penalty of perjury or making false statements with, federal offense that you're answering these questions truthfully. So they could find that he, answered a question falsely. That could be possibly a criminal offense. If it was 2018, you're looking at statute of limitations, which would probably have expired, but there may be other things that it continued. But it is quite interesting, and it's worth looking into, again, who do we bring into this country? Who do we naturalize? How are we vetting people? Because coming into this country or to become a citizen should be a privilege. And if you hate the country and support terrorists, why would we possibly make you a citizen? But I think the bigger picture just shows, I know he's even on the extremes of the Democratic Party, but the Democratic Party is so extreme that they always put illegal aliens, ahead of American citizens and never really care. Somebody with these views, the fact that he would even come near a ballot and let alone get nominated, and it looks like he might win ultimately. Yeah. And I can't even imagine what happens to New York City other than everyone with a brain will leave. So we'll just, it'll just become, East Detroit or something like that. And that's a bad thing because once these cities go in the toilet, it seems like it's pretty hard to get them back out. At least the American cities that have sort of just been devastated over the years. Oh, yeah. Well, listen, they made their bed. Now they're going to have to lie in it. And we'll have to see where these cities go. I have said on more than one occasion that there's part of me that just wants to see New York burn. And I don't mean literally, but I want to see New York
just go ahead and collapse under the weight of illegal aliens and crime, because that's what this guy wants to do. And so if he wins, then New York and the people of New York, they will have to live and suffer with the consequences of their actions, which is voting for this guy or not voting at all. So, Jonathan, we are out of time, but thank you very much for joining us here on Super Talk 99.7. How can people find you on X?
John for Fairfax, JONFORFAIRFAX.
All right, thank you, and we'll talk to you again soon. Have a great 4th of July. Joan, from what I understand, 24 westbound is a horrible mess. And because we just, they were able to get this woman off the roadway.
Real quick, I just have to repeat. So I have the traffic report on my computer. Do you want to know what they say on one of these reports?
What?
This is the exact report. So this is a police situation, right lane blocked because of what's going on. Quote, dude wanted for hitting several cars, with including PO cars. But in the actual post, in the actual report, they put the guy as dude.
It's not a dude, it's a woman.
I know. That's why I'm very confused. Why did who is writing these reports of no one in a traffic report, you don't just say dude.
Well, maybe it's Steven Tyler. Dude looks like a lady.
Yeah. Dude wanted for hitting several cars, including PO cars. But just the fact that word dude is in there feels like it's like some teenager writing these.
So it looks fine at Briley Parkway. I mean, we'll get updated on it, but.
And then there's that other. There's a crash with the right 2 lanes blocked, like a little bit beforehand, and it says not sure if this is related to the chase. So if you're on 24 westbound, I'm sorry.
So okay, I'm looking at it right now. 24 westbound side. They still have traffic stopped. All traffic stopped in all the lanes.
Well, can I ask why?
Yeah, I'm seeing. So I can't really zoom in to what they're doing, but it's all the police on the side of the road. There must be 10 cars.
KGB, take the phones off hold. So,
yes, somebody can tell us what's happening.
Yeah, maybe somebody can tell us what in the world is going on, because this is a train wreck of a vehicle. Get the vehicle out of there and let people drive.
They've got...
Unless it's a crime scene.
Troopers in the road right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least one. He's walking back toward... Nope, they just said to go ahead. So now the traffic is moving again.
There you go. At least for now.
And there's some very angry people in the left lane who are traveling 80 miles an hour right out of the
well, yeah.
They're just so mad that they're...
My question is, do they find something in the car during the chase that caused them to maybe hold off traffic?
Maybe. Well, that's what I said. Maybe there's some sort of an investigation.
Yeah.
So,
do you still want to hear from the drivers, or since the traffic's moving?
See what that one person called, and because I'm curious as to why it took so long to open up the roadway. All right, it is 7:55 on Nashville's Morning News. I'm all discombobulated now, Joan.
Yeah, I know.
Because I stopped in the middle of a segment to do the other thing, and then I had the interview, and so I'm going to reset and start over at the 8 o'clock hour.
But it's been exciting.
It has been exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
So with all of this happening in the background, we've also got the vote of Rama that's still happening on Capitol Hill this morning with Vice President J.D. Vance there. We'll bring you the latest, what is going on and why they're still introducing these amendments that they have to vote on. It's a stall tactic, and we've got more on all of that that's happening on Capitol Hill coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right. Thank you, Joan. 7:55. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Stoltz Co., a great Tennessee company that does continue to grow and to expand. Now, you know that they build pole barns at Stoltz Co., and that these pole barns, they can serve as a garage, an event space, an equestrian building, maybe even barn dominiums. You can live in these pole barns, and these days, those barn dominiums at Stoltz Co., they are new and they are improved. Stoltz Co. is now offering you turnkey options. Now, here's what that means. That means that they handle the design, they handle the construction, and the amazing finishing touches. You turn the key, and you're home. And right now, they also are offering storm shelters to keep you and your family safe. Your new pole barn from Stoltz Co., it can be used for anything. So if you've got some land that needs a building for anything you want, Call Stoltzko, 615-622-5992, 615-622-5992. You can also find them on their socials, Instagram and Facebook, to see examples of their incredible work around Middle Tennessee. STOLTZCO, Stoltzko.com.
Jesus came to earth the first time to save the world. The next time he comes will be to condemn the world and those who have refused to accept him as their Lord and Savior. Christians are co-heirs with Christ and possess full rights as sons and inherit salvation, eternal life, the earth, the kingdom of God, and all things. If you're not a Christian and have wondered about eternal life, God may be drawing you. Accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, for only God can save you.
No matter what I've ever done.
No matter what I've ever done.
No matter what you've ever done.
But what about?
No matter what you've ever done.
Even if?
You are no longer condemned, no matter what you have ever done. Non-cancelable, guaranteed reservation in heaven when you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Learn how now.
Good morning. Now 8:01. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The Senate is still at it in the middle of the so-called vote-a-rama that started about 9:30 yesterday morning. Now, most of the amendments that are being discussed here have failed, and ABC's Ali Pecorin reports.
Figure out how to corral the conference into passing this legislation. It does not seem at the present moment that Majority Leader John Thune has locked the votes down to get this thing passed. If you look at the Senate floor, he's huddled up in deep conversation with some of these holdout senators. Mainly, we've been seeing a lot of attention poured into Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski.
Yeah, and Vice President J.D. Vance is there on Capitol Hill as well. He would, of course, cast a tie-breaking vote, but it appears there are 4 Republicans that'll vote no, and that would sink the bill. President Trump, though, was asked about it at the White House this morning as he was departing.
I think we're doing well. We're going to have to see. It's very complicated stuff. Great enthusiasm, as you know. And I think in the end, we're going to have it.
And we'll keep an eye on it. The president was about to depart for Florida to tour Alligator Alcatraz today, the detention center being built on the site of an old airport in Florida's Everglades. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
It's a massive runway, and there's not a lot of buildings out there, but there's a lot of concrete. And so these guys set up this whole thing within a matter of days.
Now, the center will be able to hold about 5,000 people who are being deported. Charges against Mohammed Soliman have been upgraded to murder after one of the victims that he hit with a flaming Molotov cocktail has now died. The Egyptian national is already facing state and federal hate crime charges for that attack on Israel supporters in Boulder, Colorado. The 82-year-old woman who died from her injuries yesterday is one of just 15 people who were injured in that attack. About 1.5 million Tennesseans are expected to hit the road for the 4th of July holiday. So the Tennessee Department of Transportation says it'll suspend construction-related lane closures on interstates and state routes. And that suspension will take place from noon on July 3rd through 6 a.m. on July 7th. Now, as far as air travel goes this week, there are some big delays reported across the country at many airports, including Atlanta, one of the busiest in the nation. They've been dealing with strong storms and in some cases tornadoes. You'll want to check with your airline before heading out. Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Futures in the red, Dow futures down 42, NASDAQ futures minus 97. The S&P futures are minus 19 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. So 24 westbound is still really slow this morning, and it's all because of that car that had been being chased by police at 5 miles per hour over the course of hours. And so right now, 24 westbound at Harding Place, exit 56 is where you're going to want to expect that delay to be this morning. All the traffic is being diverted over to the left lanes. You got at least 2 lanes there of traffic that are able to get through. And then 24 westbound before the Blue Hole Road overpass. That's another blockage this morning. The right shoulder is blocked off as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
8:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 89.7 WTN. I'm trying to figure something out, Joan.
What is it?
So I'm on X.
Yeah.
At Dan Manda Show.
Joan P. Jones.
Yes, Joan P. Jones. And I'm trying to pull up Donald Trump so that I can search it, so that I can find the audio of him talking about Elon Musk and so forth. And I go to search it, and it says something went wrong. Try reloading.
Oh, do you think he was blocked?
I can't imagine that Elon Musk would actually block anything that has to do with an algorithm involving Donald Trump. I don't think that he would do that. But for the life of me, can you try to see if it comes up on your computer? Because I want to play that audio.
Like his actual account or just Donald Trump?
No,
in general?
just Donald Trump.
Mine worked fine. But I'm trying to find that audio as well.
Yeah, see if you can find it. Because I thought that it was a hoot. You know, I mean, I don't like the fact that he's talking about wanting to deport Elon Musk.
I think it's just I think it's just your computer that's having issues.
It is
though.
because I'm good. I've got it. But he doesn't post on X like he does on Truth Social.
Right. All I'm looking for is the audio from outside of the airplane that was about 45 minutes ago.
I don't see it there. So
yeah. All right.
Yeah. You're not missing it. I have some of it.
Okay.
But, I don't have all of it because once we go live on the air, I stop recording.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I don't have it.
All right. Very good. Well, basically, there's a bit of a controversy going on where Elon Musk is saying that he's going to, as a matter of fact, this says breaking news on CNN. Musk vows to unseat Republicans who back Trump agenda bill. As a matter of fact, this was just a few minutes ago. Elon Musk saying that he's basically going to try to unseat these Republicans who support this bill. So there you go. We'll have to wait and see if he Trump. This comes after Trump threatened DOJ probe of subsidies for Musk's companies. It's been a really interesting back and forth between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And, at some point we'll get the audio from President Trump when he was talking about Elon Musk and what he wants to do with Elon. Somebody apparently at some point this morning asked the president somewhere what he thought about deporting Elon Musk. And the president apparently said that it was something that he would look at. And I want Trump to stop it. I do. I want Donald Trump to stop it. You've got far, far bigger fish to fry than Elon Musk. He is, and I know that he's a very powerful guy. By the way, one of the questions, because Elon said overnight, one of the things that he said was, okay, if this passes, then I'm going to start my own political party. It'll be like the America First Party, and the.
You want to get that?
No, it's kind of funny though, Joan. I'm on there like every day, 5 to 9, have been for years, and somebody's calling me. Anyway, so so the Daily Dan poll was: would you follow Elon Musk into a new political party that focused on fiscal conservatism? And so KGB, this was 3 hours ago we posted it. What are people saying?
Still a majority of no, 75 to 25 no.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I want to do a couple of things. I'm all disjointed because I got 9 things going on and I didn't finish the segment and so forth. Now my phone's ringing. So I want to talk about whether or not the mayoral guy, I want to make sure people understand what it was Zorhan Mandami is accused of doing. So, because we spoke a little bit about this with Jonathan Fahey, but he fills out this form. It's an N-400. He filled it out in 2018. And when you fill these out, one of the questions that is asked is, okay, so, do you have any sympathy for terrorist organizations or something like that? And in 2018, he answered, no, he does not have any sympathy for terrorist organizations or however it is that they phrase it. But in 2017, he wrote this song where he basically is praising the Holy Land Five. The Holy Land Five is a group convicted in 2008 for funneling over $12 million to Hamas. He says, my love to the Holy Land Five, you better look them up and Free the Holy Land 5, my guys. So obviously he does have some sympathy for, either a terrorist organization or people that have sympathy for terrorist organizations. But, I mean, if they were funneling $12 million to Hamas, then they are terrorists. And so, yeah, I believe that he actually should be investigated. Andy Ogles was on Newsmax last night. This is part of what he said. Listen.
Part of the process when you fill out the naturalization forms, which, here's a copy of one here, is you've got to disclose your activities. So like communism, anti-American activities. And so in 2018, when he was naturalized, he failed to disclose some of the things that he had been doing, one of which was joining the Democrat Socialists of America. That's a communist organization, which, quite frankly, at that time would have disqualified him from becoming a United States citizen. So what we're encouraging to do is the Justice Department to look into the timing of his joining that organization. It would have been anti-American. It would have fit the definition of what he would have been required to disclose, and quite frankly, would have made him most likely ineligible to become a naturalized citizen.
Right. So if you think about it, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but if you go down this road, it sounds like Andy Ogles has him dead to rights. Now, do I believe that he's going to be deported? No. Do I think that he's going to be denaturalized, Zorhan Mandami? Do I believe that he's going to be deported and denaturalized? No, I don't. But it appears that he did lie on that form. Nobody has the testicular fortitude to try to do that, but I think that it would be really, really fun. But beyond all of that, another question that was asked of Caroline Levitt yesterday about Donald Trump and his relationship with the New York mayor if he actually ends up winning. We'll talk about that straight ahead. It is 8:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes, today a high of 88 and possible thunderstorms. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Okay, so what would actually happen if Zorhan Mandami was elected mayor of the city of New York?
Could President Trump see himself working with a mayor, Mamdani, somebody who, on Meet the Press this weekend, was given 3 chances to condemn the phrase globalize the intifada, but he couldn't?
Yeah, look, the president is always willing to work with everyone. He's working with Democrats across the country, Democrat governors, and he said he'll work with people on the far left. He works with Republicans. He works with people in the middle. He wants to do what's right for America, but surely someone who holds these values and is quite literally a communist and condemns every value that makes this country great. Common sense, law and order, low taxes, working hard, and earning your keep in this country. He's against all of that, and I think the president would find it difficult to work with someone like that. If he is elected, I'm sure you'll hear more from the president on that, but we'll have to see. Hopefully the voters of New York City choose wisely.
You know, one of the things, and this is well-worn territory, at least on this show, is what he wants to do with city-run grocery stores. This is from Fox News. Economists and business leaders are sounding the alarm over New York mayoral candidate Zorhan Mandami's plan to roll out city-owned grocery stores that he says will lower food costs. They say you don't lower grocery bills by having government-run stores. That is according to a top economist at the libertarian-leaning Cato Institute, a guy by the name of Ryan Bourne, telling Fox Business government-run entities have no market discipline, no need to earn profits, compete, or serve customers efficiently. That leads to bloated costs, empty shelves, and zero accountability. I mean, part of what might happen is if the city of New York is so nasty towards, profit. So if like a Walmart, or I don't know what they have in New York, a Walmart, Kroger, whatever. But if you end up with all of these city-run stores, well, then a Walmart's going to say, screw it, I'm going to leave. The bodegas that are all over New York, You got these city-run stores, and the bodegas can't really compete with it, perhaps. We'll have to see what happens. But all of a sudden, they want to put all of these other stores out of business because, they're for profit. Well, so what happens when something happens to your city-run stores? Then there's going to be a food shortage. And that's what people are worried about, a food shortage. EJ Antoni, of course, you know EJ. He's been on my show many times. He was on Fox News as well. He says the other problem we're going to face is that if he, Mamdani, is selling things substantially less than the private market, who is going to want to go to the private market? Everyone is going to want to go to these grocery stores. And ultimately, Antoni says that the city-run grocery stores do have the potential to exacerbate food shortages in New York City. So, yeah, this is going to be a big problem. Now, where are we with the big, beautiful bill? Have they finished Joan, have they finished the vote of Rama yet?
Nope.
Still going. So they're going on 24 hours.
Yes, 24 hours as of just about 10 minutes from now.
My heart breaks for them. They work so hard.
One day.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I'm watching on C-SPAN, which is a great way to watch because you can just watch without having to get all the commentary about it. And all it says right now is waiting for a senator to speak. But what's happening is that I was watching Fox News for a little bit, and they were saying that there's a gaggle of people who are meeting just outside of the camera eye, and they're meeting with Lisa Murkowski, and they're meeting with Rand Paul, two of the holdouts.
Right.
Here. And so Lisa Murkowski had wanted for the cuts for Medicaid to not happen to her state. So she wanted Alaska to be carved out of that. And Rand Paul, they were talking about maybe doing something with the debt ceiling so that it would be more acceptable to him. So those conversations are happening right now on the floor. They're not doing any debating. They're not entertaining any more of these amendments from Democrat senators. So right now, there's just,
it's almost like shut up, the adults are talking.
Right, exactly. Well, this is how the sausage is made, and we get to watch it in real time. If you're interested and you want to see what's happening, you can watch it. It's very interesting.
So can you imagine how angry all the other senators are going to be if Lisa Murkowski, she's
Can you imagine?
Alaska, right?
Yes, Alaska.
So can you imagine if Lisa Murkowski gets a carve out for the Medicaid cuts for her state? How then if she gets it for her state, but like all these other states going to be like, what's up with that?
They might be able to persuade her if they do a delayed start to that program for her state.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
But at this point, it doesn't appear that they've got the votes. Otherwise, they'd be voting on it.
I think I've seen a couple of articles in the last couple of days where she was actually flirting with Democrats. She was flirting with going and becoming a Democrat.
I wish she would. I just wish she would. And then they could vote her out of office in Alaska and stop fooling themselves.
Into thinking that she's a good Republican?
Right.
Yeah. I get it.
How they keep on voting her in, I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if she ticks him off enough because she says she's a Democrat.
I don't know. You know what I think about when I hear the name Lisa Murkowski? I think of...
Make it stop!
That's what I think about with Lisa Murkowski.
Took you a long time to bring that back, Dan.
You know what? I know. I'm so discombobulated today just because of everything that's going on.
Yeah, it's been a busy day.
The full story behind...
Make it stop!
That.
Yes.
Coming up at 8:35 here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan Jones at 8:22. By the way, the Super Text line is open. Thank you for all the feedback. Joan, what's coming up at 8:30?
We have another breaking story this morning. Something the Department of Justice has just directed U.S. attorneys to do. This may surprise you. We've got the story coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
822, Nashville's Morning News here on WTN, and I'm Dan. I want to tell you about USS. Now, I've been telling you actually for years about United Structural Systems. They are experts in waterproofing, concrete leveling, and foundation repair. Now, this is a great company, and they've helped me several times with my home, and that is why I do proudly endorse United Structural Systems. Now, I am one of 30,000 satisfied customers, and listen to this recent review on Google. The guy says that USS was highly professional. The crew was phenomenal from start to finish. They treated his home as if they were working on their own, and he does give United Structural Systems 5 stars all the way. United Structural Systems, they will not charge you for any unnecessary repairs, and you won't pay a dime until the work is done and you are a satisfied customer. Call them 615-488-7855. We guarantee our best. Call USS 615-488-7855, USSTN.com. Dan Matt is here for Window Nation. Listen, hot weather is here, and we've got some great savings for new windows from my window company, Window Nation. If you've been considering new windows, you've got to call my company, Window Nation. It is their semi-annual sale going on right now, and that means that you can buy 4 windows, you get 4 windows free, and you buy a whole home full of windows, you are going to get a free entry door. So you save on the purchase and the install, and you save for years to come because Window Nation windows, they are energy efficient. Matter of fact, they have some of the best insulated windows on the market, and their prices are a lot better than the expensive guys. Now at Window Nation, they've got a 96% customer satisfaction rating and over 45,000 5-star reviews. Now, don't forget that great deal. You buy 4 windows, you're going to get 4 free, and you buy a whole home full of windows, you get a free entry door. Find them online. It's windownation.com. That's windownation.com, 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION for Window Nation. 828, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. 8507 on the Super Text line at 615-737-9986 says this. It feels a little hostile. Guys, WTN seems to love government and its representatives. Why hate on government grocery stores? Serious question. All right, so I'll give you a serious answer. Number one, I don't love our government. I don't love our representatives. I interview them as part of my job. That's number one and number two. Number three, the reason I would hate on government grocery stores is because that's not the government's place. The government's place is not supposed to be running grocery stores at the, state or the national level. It's just not. And it's been proven to be a failure time and time and time again. This isn't communism or socialism. We believe in a free market society. We are driven by capitalism. So that's why I am hating on government grocery stores, because the government shouldn't be involved in anything related to owning and running grocery stores. It's not their lane, and it never will be, hopefully. It is 8:30 on Nashville's Morning News on WTN and at Joan Jones in the news right now.
Good morning. It's now 8:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. As the vote-a-rama continues in the Senate chambers this morning, all eyes are on Vice President J.D. Vance, who has arrived on Capitol Hill. Fox News' Aisha Hasni says his presence serves more than one purpose.
I think that he's here for not only just the tie-breaking vote, but to really help. I mean, he used to work with these folks. These are his former colleagues. He used to be a senator here. He has close relationships and ties with many of these senators. And he also has a direct line to the president and the president's thinking.
Yeah.
So that is very key and important. He plays a big role for John Thune.
And we are going to stay on top of this story throughout the day. We're also following another breaking story this morning. The Justice Department has issued a memo that directs U.S. attorneys to prioritize denaturalization cases against criminal naturalized Americans. Now, this memo tells U.S. attorneys to focus on terrorists, gang members, human traffickers, and fraudsters. And the DOJ makes special note that this applies as well to any citizen, U.S. citizen, who illegally procured naturalization or procured naturalization by concealment of a material fact or by willful misrepresentation. Does that sound familiar to you, Dan?
So it does. And I actually took note where you said they're talking about the categories of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the possible mayor of New York could be called a fraudster.
Mm-hmm.
Because, number one, he pretended that he could rap. That's number one. And number two, he lied on the N400.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
That's concealment of material fact or willful misrepresentation of himself. That applies to this case.
It does apply to this case. This isn't a conspiracy theory or a rabbit hole.
No, this is for real.
This is for real. I mean, he hid the information. He lied about it on the form. So I guess the question is, should he be deported? I mean, it sounds like that's what Trump is teeing up.
Right. If he gets denaturalized, deportation is the automatic result of that.
Okay.
So that's what, and this is not something that they've cooked up on their own. This is the DOJ saying, hey, U.S. attorneys, follow the laws. So, yeah. We'll follow that one, too, throughout the day and see what happens, what the reaction will be. Money news brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Well, stocks are starting off in the red this morning. The Dow Jones Industrial is just down by 5, but it's the NASDAQ we're looking at here. It's down 104 points. S&P 500 index, which hit another record high yesterday, it's down by 15 points right now. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:33. Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here, and Brentwood Jewelry. Well, they've been here for 50 years, actually over 50 years. Brentwood Jewelry has been proudly serving the Brentwood community with exceptional style and exceptional deals every day. Now, as a family-owned and operated business spanning 3 generations, they're deeply rooted in this community, from Salem Service and Special Forces to his sons serving as local firefighters. The Imamali family, they are dedicated to giving back in a time where it is really important to support local. Shop Brentwood Jewelry. Listen, you need a gift. You need maybe a birthday gift, a graduation gift, an anniversary gift, whatever. Brentwood Jewelry is a great place to go. They've got something for anybody and anyone. So maybe a gift for a man. You're talking about maybe a watch, a gift for, or a money clip, a gift for women. You've got necklaces and bracelets and rings and earrings. Something for everybody and every budget can be found at Brentwood Jewelry. 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. You can find them online, BrentwoodJewelry.com. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. Brentwood Jewelry. .835 on Nashville's Morning News. Listen, it's bathing suit season, like it or not. It's bathing suit season. If you want to get in the pool, but you don't like how you look in your bathing suit, call my friends at Contours. And right now, they are offering a great deal on their great Belly Buster specials. Now, if you don't know what the Belly Buster special is from Contours, well, basically what they do is through this really effective and incredibly unique red light technology, what they can do is they can take a couple of inches off the middle. That's exactly right. And they do this through the red light technology. And it is really interesting. Chad Benson has been doing it. I did it as well. And those Belly Buster specials, they can really help. And right now, they are offering them for just $99. It is the summertime special from Contours. First 10 callers right now, you get $99 Belly Buster special from Contours. If you call right now, it's 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960. This red light technology, it is absolutely cutting edge. It is incredibly unique. It is also incredibly effective. First 10 callers right now gets that $99 Belly Buster special. It is the June special in July from my friends at Contours. 615-236-9960. Find them online, contoursllc.com.
So it is still slow this morning on 24 westbound, just past Harding Place, exit 56. Now, that's where the stolen car and the woman who had been driving it for hours at 5 miles an hour, she has that car and the police presence all off onto the right lane, onto the right shoulder now. It's still stop and go up to that spot because police are allowing just a few lanes of traffic on the left side to get around it. You've got Carter's Creek Pike between Pope's Chapel Road and Barker Road closed. They're doing washout repairs. This is in Thompson Station this morning. And West Nashville, I-40, the eastbound side at 46th Avenue, exit 205. Watch for a crash in that spot, too. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.838, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Murphy Show is still out. So he's going to be 2 weeks out with that shoulder of his, that bionic shoulder of his. And so I don't even know who's on when today.
Where's the work ethic, Murphy?
Oh, no.
No,
he tried. He actually did try. So I think today's what? Today is Tuesday?
Yes.
So I think that I don't know who's on where. I got a memo
So
on this.
I think it's Chris still. Chris is still taking over for the drive. Brian Wilson's going to take over for Chris, and Chad's staying where he is.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
All
And,
right.
well, honestly, it's probably a good time to get your couple days extra off because again, we're off Thursday and Friday.
Right. Yeah. Worst of Mandis apparently is what we're going to be running.
Yeah.
There you go.
They were slim pickings.
Moving right along. All right. It's 8:39. Nashville's Morning News on WTN. All right. So President Trump. Do we know, Joan, if the president is there at Alligator Alcatraz as of yet?
I don't know if he's there on the ground yet. I know he left much earlier this morning. I'm assuming he had a direct flight.
How long would the flight have been?
Couldn't have been long. It's, 2 hours?
Yeah, it's and he's going to land right. I'm assuming he's going to land right there at the facility.
You would think.
Must be nice being president.
Well, yeah, there's the whole thing about getting shot at all the time. But other than that, I'm sure it's
but
great.
Flight scheduling, you don't have to worry about going on an airport or have to deal with security. You just get on a plane.
Sure, yeah.
That's the dream.
And all the millions of dollars that he's lost through legal fees, his business being decimated. Must be great, KGB.
Yeah, it must be terrific to be the president.
You see what I'm doing? I'm piling on poor KGB.
I still free flights.
Yeah, well, okay, there is that. All right, real quick. So I've got some great audio. People have asked me, actually, Joan, to replay this audio from the 5 o'clock hour.
Yes.
The nut job that is really angry over these Alligator Alcatraz is what it is. So listen to this. This woman lost her mind.
I need somebody to tell me that I'd not just walk upstairs and see a clip on the news talking about Alligator Alcatraz, a prison camp that they're building in the Everglades in Florida to throw immigrants into. Truly, what the fuck is happening when they're in the middle of construction of a prison camp in the fucking Everglades to throw immigrants into, which by the looks of it, of what I saw on the screen, looked just like several rows of cargo shipping containers. They're building a ton of shipping containers that they're going to throw human beings into because they're immigrants.
So they're not immigrants. They're illegal aliens. They're violent criminals as well. But that's to be expected. I don't need to go through yet again how the left takes over language and how they, especially with this particular issue, where they're always saying, oh, the immigrants. It's like, no, they're illegal aliens and they're criminals. You nutjob leftist. And they're not using, by the way, they're not using shipping containers either. They're using light structures so that they can be put up and put down very quickly.
If that wasn't already horrifying enough to throw human beings into containers, Florida had to Florida and be like, you know what, I'll do you one better. Not only are we going to make this disgusting prison camp, but we're going to put it right in the Everglades next to all the gators and joyfully refer to it as Alligator Alcatraz. No, absolutely not. Just make it stop. Make it stop.
You know, it really is that last part.
Make it stop.
Where I don't know what that is.
It's a siren wailing.
I mean, do you think she was really that upset? Or do you think that this is just, one of these social media theatrical kind of a thing?
Make it stop!
Where she's just being dumb?
It could be.
They need so much attention.
I would, you know what? I mean, maybe it's because I get attention like on the radio, kind of. But I can't imagine making a complete and utter fool of yourself.
Make it stop!
For attention.
Yeah.
I spend most of my day wanting to be ignored, as a matter of fact.
Oh, my gosh.
Except for the 4 hours that I'm on the radio.
Make it stop!
And the other, 4 hours before you were on here.
Well, yeah, if I'm working and I'm talking on the radio, then I want people to pay attention. But, other than that, leave me alone. Unless you're a listener and you're wanting to say hi.
Well, the difference between you and them is they want to be professional victims, and you are just calling it with the news. You're just relaying the news with your own opinions, which is fine, but you're not saying, oh, woe is me, feel sorry for me.
Well, the other problem is, oftentimes when I speak, people say,
make it stop!
There's that problem too. All right, real quick. I have not done this yet, and I'm very upset with myself. So You know the big controversy right now, Joan, with CNN and the app tracker, the ICE app tracker?
I saw this.
So this is on CNN. This is yesterday.
The Trump administration steps up ICE raids and mass deportations. One tech developer is pushing back with an app designed to track ICE activity in real time. And it's controversial, to say the least. CNN's Claire Duffy is with us now. How does this work, Claire? And what are the legal implications?
So you know what they're doing, right? I know Joan knows what they're doing. What they're doing is they're pretending this is a story. But what they're really doing is they're promoting the app.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
The tech reporter at CNN seemed kind of giddy to promote it.
Yeah, John, I talked with Joshua Aaron, who is the longtime tech worker who developed this platform, and he said he really wants it to be an early warning system for people about the location of immigrations and customs enforcement officers. So he says he does not want people interfering with those officers' activity, but he does want people to be able to avoid them altogether if they want.
Right, and a lot of people are saying, yeah, that actually could be illegal. It could be interpreted as illegal. And basically how the thing works, you know how the Waze app works? Where if you're driving along and, you know, your little blue dot or whatever it is on the map and there's a slow traffic or an accident, you can put on the Waze app where there is an accident. Well, it's the same thing with this. You're going to have a bunch of people with this app, and then they're going to start putting on the app where the ICE van is. And then all those people that are on the app are going to get a push notification that warns them where the ICE van is. Now, I believe what they should do, I believe that as conservatives, what we should do is we should all download the app and we should all just start saying ICE is everywhere so that it totally dilutes what the leftists are trying to do.
Continuously pressing it as they get notifications nonstop, so they have to cancel,
I think that would be great. I do believe that's
what
what
Waze also does. Waze also puts where police cars are, like where speed traps are.
Mm-hmm.
You can put like a speed trap kind of on there as well.
Oh, I know.
But that's different than kind of interfering with the government, law enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking for bad guys is what they're doing.
That's saying, hey, slow down on this road, not, hey, avoid this if you're committing crimes.
Well, and here's the other thing. I mean, I've reported this a number of different times, but do you really trust Trende Aragua and MS-13 not to use this to target members of ICE? There was a shooting. Somebody told me about this last night. There was a shooting in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where it was an ambush. A couple of police officers were shot. One of them died last night, as a matter of fact, and it was an ambush. Over the weekend, the firefighter who, there were a couple of firefighters that were killed. The perpetrator, the alleged, shooter, started a fire. This was in Idaho. He starts a fire in the mountains, and the fire department shows up, and a couple of firefighters get out, and this wackadoo shoots him dead. Again, another ambush. And so now we've got CNN, and they're promoting this app that could clearly be used as an ambush as well. I mean, it is unbelievable. We had that vice mayor in Los Angeles, remember this, that seemed to call out the local gangs for not coming out against ICE, and she called ICE, a big gang in their own right. And ICE agents are also getting docked. So you've got all of this gang activity. Trende Aragua, a while back, you may remember this, where Trende Aragua actually threatened our ICE officers. Their leadership has instructed members of Trende Aragua to go after and kill ICE agents. Pam Bondi heard about this, and she was really angry that CNN decided that it would be a good idea to promote this app. And this is what she said on Sean Hannity's show.
Yeah, and that's what he's doing. And people obviously are ICE agents, all of our federal agents who are working hand in hand on these task forces, our federal agents from the Justice Department could be injured. He's giving a message to criminals where our federal officers are, and he cannot do that. And we are looking at it. We are looking at him, and he better watch out, because that's not a protected speech. That is threatening the lives of our law enforcement officers throughout this country. And shame on CNN. I just saw that for the first time when you showed it, that they're promoting that app. That's shame on them for doing that. That could hurt our law enforcement officers who are out there protecting them, protecting all of us every single day.
Well, that's exactly right. And also, one of the things that when you hear Pam Bondi speak, when you hear Tom Homan speak, it's just common sense. And she's right, because you got all these people that are going to have this app in this community. Well, what's so dumb is they're trying to deter ICE from picking up the bad guys that are more than likely terrorizing their community. ICE is trying to get the gang members that are terrorizing that community. It just doesn't make any sense. But then again, this is why things get so crazy here in America, especially on the left, because things that don't make any sense makes all the sense in the world to the other side. Meantime, Tom Homan, he was on one of the podcasts, Benny Johnson, and he was ticked as well. I think he was more angry or angrier than Pam Bondi. Listen to what he had to say.
What's your response to CNN?
It's disgusting. I mean, I cannot believe we're in a world where the men and women who enforce the law are the bad guys, and one who broke the law, they're victims. And look, it's already a dangerous job. You know, ICE agents are arresting the worst of the worst. President Trump committed from day one. We're going to concentrate our effort on public safety threats and national security threats. So right there, the job's already dangerous. But when you're out there tracking ICE movements and giving people a heads up they're coming, that just puts the danger at a whole new level. You know, it's only a matter of time for someone sits in hiding and waits for an ICE agent and tries to take them out. I mean, this is horrendous that a national media outlet will be out there trying to forecast law enforcement operations throughout the country. I mean, it's incredible where we're at as a nation. And I think DOJ needs to look at this and see if they're crossing that line. I think we need to send a strong message that we need to protect the law enforcement personnel.
Yep. And I believe that Tom Homan is right. Now, just so you know that I know, this has actually been determined by the Supreme Court already in similar cases. And most times, if not every time, posting of that information has been allowed as, First Amendment and all that. So we'll have to see where that goes. By the way, Joan, we were talking about the guy that shot the two firefighters in Idaho.
Yeah.
And people are trying to figure out what happened and why he did what he did. Have you heard what the grandfather said?
I've seen a couple of things that he said.
The grandfather, his thinking is that the shooter was rejected by the fire department. He wanted to be a firefighter, and he was rejected because he was too short. Do you know how short he was?
No.
5'8". So I'm calling BS on this because I don't know. I've seen some pretty short firefighters. I think they can be under 5'8". 5'8" isn't even short.
That's the average height.
Thank you, KGB.
No, like legitimately, like scientifically, that's the average height of man is 5'8".
Have you seen pictures of this person?
He looks awfully waif-like.
Okay, thank you. That is what my first thought, and if anybody can back me up on this, I would love this because I don't think it's abnormal to think this way. But first of all, he looked very young. So he was 20, but in my humble opinion, he looked about 15. And the long hair, and he looked waif-like, and he looked, I think that we are going to find at the end of this, I think there's a possibility that we'll find at the end of this, that there was some gender thing happening with him.
Oh, you know what?
As
now that
seen,
I think about it, Joan, now that you've mentioned it and I looked at the photo, he did just look a little off. Looked very waif-like, longish kind of hair.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
maybe.
I'm not pigeonholing anybody, but, we've seen the results of what happens when young people are put on these hormone blockers and just their bodies are sent into an absolute spiral from what the natural process is supposed to be. You can't tell me it doesn't mess up their head.
Oh, it absolutely messes with their head.
So, it's early on. We really don't know anything about it. That's my own personal speculation about what's going on here.
You know what? Flag the tape. We'll see if Joan Jones is right. I'm kind of backing you up on that, Joan.
Okay.
We'll have to see what happens. All right, it is 8:53 on, but he's dead. By the way, there is that too.
He is. Yeah.
8:53, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and there we go.
Yeah, there's that.
All right, Joan, what's coming up?
We know a little bit more now about what happened with this woman that led police on a slow-speed chase for hours. It went on for 4 hours before they were finally able to stop this woman.
Listen, she's got a long way to go before she matches Rama.
That's true. So we'll bring you that information about what happened prior to that pursuit. It's all coming up here at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
By the way, I want to make it known, Joan, that
Yes.
I have gone to Facebook and I have marked myself safe from caring about Jeff Bezos' wedding.
Oh, thank goodness.
I could give a rat's behind. Everybody wanted to talk to me about this yesterday. I didn't understand why. I actually said to
insane.
somebody, I said, why do you want to talk to me about this?
Good. I'm glad you held out because nobody cares.
No.
Nobody cares.
Do you know what I actually found more interesting? What's the wife's name?
Lauren
Sanchez. Do you know what's interesting about Lauren Sanchez? If you go back.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you know where I'm going.
Oh, yes, I do.
If you go back like 10, 12 years, she was a lot cuter before she had all of that work done.
She's a cat person now.
She is a cat person. And she used to be a pilot, military pilot.
Well, she doesn't have to do anything anymore, but.
That's true.
I mean,
but she used to have a life.
She looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like, is there any part of her at this point that's real? And it's like, just because you can afford it doesn't mean you should. Do you know who's actually better looking? Now I'm talking about Jeff Bezos' wedding. Do you know?
So much for being safe.
Do you know who's actually better looking than Lauren Sanchez?
Your wife?
Well, yes.
Okay.
But
You're welcome.
Amy and I actually spoke about this yesterday.
Okay.
His first wife.
Yeah, I know. His
first wife is cute as a button.
Yep.
And now he's got this, I don't even know how to describe Lauren Sanchez, man, but she's just like everything on her is like plastic and whatever they put in you. You know what I mean?
But his first wife gave away her portion of the fortune to crazy lefty causes.
Yeah, but at least she's cute. I'm totally kidding. All right, we got to go. 8:56. I'm kidding, Joan. I'm kidding. I'm tired and I'm delusional. 8:56, Nashville's Morning News. DT McCall's a great Tennessee company. They are here for their fellow Tennesseans with great prices, selection, and value. They have been here for over 100 years with a focus on customer service. Now, I've bought multiple items at DT McCall's. If you need it for your home, they've got it for your home. Indoor furniture. If you've got a room to fill, go to DT McCall's. Of course, you know all about their lawn mowers and the outdoor lawn equipment, appliances. If it plugs in, they've got it. And they've always got specials going on to save you money. So check them out online. It's dtmccalls.com. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee: Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Again, dtmccalls.com.